Hey everybody, hello. E3 has just begun. This is day one of Easy Allies E3 coverage. I'm Kyle Bossman, joined by Bradley Ellis.
Hello.
Ben Moore.
Hey.
Michael Damiani.
E3 has just begun.
It has just begun, Damiani. Press conferences isn't it. There's actually a whole show where people go and play video games all day.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you know that, who was it that tweeted out today?
you know?
That, was it someone from I think Kotaku or one of the big blog sites said they got to see the Nintendo Direct earlier, last week.
Who?
It was a Jason Schreier. Someone said they got to see it because the big stink was, but they didn't have the Breath of the Wild 2 teaser at the end. Ooh, they ended with Banjo, so people knew about Banjo since last week.
That is a foul stench. That's not just
stinks.
a big stink. That is a
So
foul
E3 began last week.
Why would you, Damiani, I'm trying to exude positivity, and you brought me right down to the gutters immediately, dude.
Oh, the games were great.
Yes.
I think we got something
we
that
got-
we're
we got-
ready to talk about that can bring it right back
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, so to tell you about Tuesday night, this is going to be all killer, no filler. It's going to be the big games that you want to hear about and all the Easy Allies wanted to play. Kicking off with Damiani, make sure I don't get this wrong, Final Fantasy VII,
Yes.
and then we're doing Avengers.
Oh, the games. I thought we were in a bit, and you were gonna say Final Fantasy. You were going to joke about how hard Final Fantasy VII is to say.
It is hard to
Like Final Fantasy VII Remake.
believe it
Yes.
or not. That was just me speaking poorly. So
Yes.
Avengers we're doing second.
We're doing Avengers second, then Shenmue 3,
Yes.
and then Cyberpunk 2077.
Yes, and then we'll see where we can go from there. We are ending at 12 a.m. Pacific time, so we got a hard cut. So let's get in as much games as we can. Please, anybody tell me about Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Let's talk about what we all played.
Yeah.
The demo.
Did Damiani play too?
Yes.
Okay, this
all
is
three
exciting.
of us played the
This is
demo.
really cool.
So the demo we played was near the very end of the classic bombing mission. You know, planting that bomb, getting it in there, it's going to set off. You start off pretty far into it, kill a couple guards. You know, the game kind of gives you a little tutorial, I guess. Like, here, you could do this, this, this.
So has that pep talk from Barrett already happened?
I will get to that.
Oh, okay. Got it.
One just weird random thing that happened in the demo that I'm sure you all heard is Cloud Strife, afflicted by different things throughout his journey in Final Fantasy VII, has some moments where he's feeling some things. He's like having that classic Cloud Strife, like, oh, I'm having a headache moment, and classic Final Fantasy fanfare plays. It goes like burr, 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 and you just hear like weird echoes of it, and that's what they chose to show him having a Cloud Strife episode. That was
You know
the
what? I didn't
accompaniment.
hear that probably because my demo blew my ears out.
Yeah,
and I had
that
one of the
it
headphones
definitely
off.
happened, and I was like, wait, because it happened once. I was like, really, the fanfare there at that moment, and then it happens again.
It doesn't play when you level up. I
No,
noticed.
it doesn't play when you level up, but he was having an episode, and you heard the fanfare. So.
That's really funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Ben, I
Just
am
thought that-
intrigued.
I thought that was a nice little touch.
I wonder if it's more than a little touch, man.
Where's your head at?
I don't maybe they're going in a really strange direction with this game.
Like, Cloud falls asleep, and you're playing like the original Final Fantasy.
Like the whole game becomes a meta commentary on how this is a remake of a Final Fantasy world that already existed or something like
Sure.
that.
He's like wrestling and you just see like flashes of Nomura.
Like
just,
he's connected to the old Final Fantasy somehow.
yeah, I have to go back.
Yeah, man, I don't know.
oh god.
I don't. That's a weird thing.
But
Okay,
we,
so
we have a
that's-
lot more to talk
Yes,
about
please.
with this game.
Yeah.
Besides.
Yeah,
that
go ahead.
moment. So really, what we got a sense of is the combat.
Cool.
Yes. And I was talking about it with Brad, where it kind of seems like just a rough comparison. It seems like a mixture between Final Fantasy 13 and Final Fantasy 15.
Okay.
Where it's a little bit slower and a little bit more tactical in a really good way. So you have standard attacks, but really what you're doing the standard attacks for is to fill up this ATB gauge. And you have 2 bars, and you can spend this on an assortment of things. So you can spend 1 bar to use an item, you can spend 1 bar and some MP to do a spell, or you can spend bars to do abilities like Cloud has Braver, for example. And what's really cool, at least in the demo that we were provided, is there was good reason to switch between Cloud and Barrett pretty constantly. And you can switch on the fly by just pushing up or down.
On the D-pad. Yeah.
Right.
Nice.
And so you'd be going across this walkway, and you would want Cloud to take care of the enemies on the ground, and then you would switch to Barrett and take care of the guys up top.
Great.
So
So the environments are designed for it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
love
yeah,
that.
yeah, layout,
That's
yeah.
cool.
They're definitely making them encounters where you have to think about what you're bringing in, and it was cool because eventually you fight the Scorpion boss that everybody's familiar with, and it was weak to thunder, but Cloud didn't have thunder, and so you'd want to switch to Barret to get that weakness, so you could do more damage, but also so you could build up that stagger. And when you hit it with the weakness, it actually like wobbles a little bit, so you have more time to build up stagger.
Cool.
And you can just go into the menu just by hitting the X button. So it's something that you can pop up at any moment. It's very easy, very smooth.
But everything's still moving around.
Very slow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very
got
slow.
It, got it. Got it.
You have ample time to make
But
decisions.
you could also hotkey all the abilities if you just want.
So like potion,
Right.
I'm gonna have to hotkey.
I was looking around. I was
Yeah.
trying to like push every single button, trying to figure it out. It didn't look like the ability to map things to a shortcut was available to the demo.
Right,
So
but they
if you want-
promised.
yeah. They promised. They showed it off
Yeah.
last night. But yeah, I think the big takeaway for me is just how, like, if every single boss fight is like this first boss fight, we're in for a good time because of how multifaceted it was. I mean, this thing had multiple phases. And just like you could target different parts of the body. It was jumping up against the ceiling, and it's
wall
just
just-
like you had to. And this was a demo, and it was easy.
It was easy.
I think
Yeah,
anybody
yeah,
could
sure.
get through it. But the sense that I got is that, okay, I'm not just doing the same thing over and over again. And like you think about the fight on the PS1 version of Final Fantasy VII, it's just like, okay, just don't attack when you're not supposed to attack. This had a lot more going on, where it's like, okay, I need to go around the back. I need to target a different part. I need to get behind this debris, and all of this happened, in a 5-minute time frame. And so
he's
just
doing like
multifaceted
AOE's.
fights.
You got to dodge out
Right.
and stuff like that.
Right.
It's good stuff.
So one thing that was demonstrated early and amazed the whole crowd was stopping time.
yeah.
How often do you stop time in battle, or
You
are you
can
already
do it
past
as much as you want.
Yeah.
Well, it was
Wait,
again,
as
I
much
feel
as you
like-
want? I thought you had to like earn it.
No, so
You just push X.
Cool. Okay.
what you're earning is
the
kind of the
ATB.
currency to do anything
Abilities.
beyond
Use items.
a standard attack.
Yeah.
And so the reason they froze time there is like, oh, and now let me select one of my
Right,
cool
yeah.
specials.
Right.
I understand better now.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You can also have like hotkeys for your partner, so you can push like R2 to make them do certain commands if you don't want to switch to them.
Right. Yeah, you can command them.
So,
you can
like,
like target this dude.
If you want to play just Cloud, you can push like R2 and have Barret do a
That is
certain
really
ability.
cool.
Yeah.
That's
And-
really, really cool.
Beyond that, I mean, just the basic standard attacks for each character feel pretty different. So Cloud, for instance, you're building ATB, but you have to every single
actually
slice
pushing
you have
square.
to push a button. Whereas Barret, it's like I can just hold it down, and so it's actually easier to build ATB with Barret, I feel like, than it is with Cloud because it's more auto, I guess. But it's interesting because they kind of have like Barret, for instance, kind of has this animation cycle he goes through where he'll like shoot the gun for a little bit and then he'll do a burst. And so if you get to the burst of his standard attack, it'll do a little bit more damage.
And that's just for holding it down for a certain amount of time.
Yeah. It's just a time thing.
Cool.
Yeah,
Holding
just
it
think of it
down.
like
Yep.
the end of a combo, I guess, or something.
Did you open a chest?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Multiple ones.
Yes.
I
Kyle,
believe, yeah.
I cut boxes and there was loot inside.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So where did you find a chest? Tell me where a
Just
secret
in the
chest was.
reactor.
So the way the demo was presented, there really it wasn't a big space.
Sure.
It's like you start at the top and you're just kind of going down ladders, and the way you get the chest is it's like, okay, do I immediately go down the ladder, or do I go down this path a little bit and there's a chest?
So it's a baby
It
secret.
was
Yes,
a pretty
yes, it was
short
a-
demo.
Definitely
Yeah.
a baby secret for sure.
What did it look like?
Exactly how it should look, Kyle. You're inside the reactor. It looks exactly how you picture it.
Okay. Because I was like, I'm picturing like it has it has 6 sides. You know what I mean? Like I'm picturing a very basic
Kyle,
chest. You know what I mean?
The presentation I saw, they specified on keeping things, the layout exactly how it was in the original.
Cool.
Just so they're like adding some new things. Like in transitions,
That's
they're
really
adding
interesting.
like you actually going through that transition in areas.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So like when you would go to a screen and like load in the next area, like they were adding stuff to connect it together.
I didn't realize until we replayed it how many times the game does do transitions.
Yeah.
Right, because
All
they're
the time.
pre-rendered backgrounds, but sometimes
All the
it'll
time.
shift it. And
All
you're
the
like,
time.
Oh, 3D, yes. And so it's cool that they still do that kind of thing.
There's also limit break, which I didn't know about until I played it.
Yeah.
So you have block. By blocking, you can build up your limit gauge, but you take some damage. So it's risk reward, but also if you get hit, you can build up your
just
limit
taking
break.
damage.
Cool.
So you could dodge out of a lot of stuff, but sometimes if you want to build up your limit break, you'll strategically just take some hits.
Well, they showed cross slash.
They
right?
showed cross slash,
and
but
that was Cloud's
I
limit
didn't
break
know
that
if
we
that was a
got.
normal ability because Braver's a normal ability in
Gotcha,
this.
gotcha.
So I was
Okay.
confused, and I was like, "Oh, there's actual limit breaks in this." And
Yeah.
they are so sick, Kyle. When
All right,
executed.
so we know clouds. Obviously, what else did we have? Like,
Oh, Barrett's.
I bet
forgot.
Tifa does not have a slot machine.
So we didn't get to play as Tifa.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Oh, what?
Who doesn't have what?
I'm guessing Tifa does not have a slot machine in the new game.
We didn't get to play.
Yeah, we
Cloud.
don't know.
She
We
has
didn't know
her,
that.
she has her
Cloud and
somersault one. That's definitely in
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
But is that?
I don't know if
is
that's
that her
just an
limit or is
ability.
that
We
just
don't
her
know.
ability?
Yeah, we don't
It
know.
might be the
Yeah.
same thing again. yeah.
So you did get Barrett's limit break.
Yeah. I don't remember. I don't think it was big shot. It was like some crazy shot though.
You know the one in Final Fantasy VII where he like swirls the big blast and he builds it up and then he fires it.
The camera go like
it
moves
was
in on.
it was not identical to that, but very,
Very
similar.
similar, yeah.
And probably
yeah.
much less impressive.
Yeah.
But still cool.
Yeah. Cross was just really cool. I think the thing to say about limit breaks is the boss was definitely like a pretty protracted sequence. I mean, it wasn't something you were done with in like a minute.
Yeah.
But just throughout all the fights and then the Scorpion boss itself, like there was only an opportunity, for me at least, to get the limit break once for each character. So it
Got
doesn't
it.
seem like something you're going to be getting and spamming all the time.
Great.
It does seem like a pretty
Yeah.
valuable
You
thing.
kind of have to go out of your way.
Yeah.
An event.
Yeah.
There's a moment when they demonstrated that boss fight where Cloud's like, Barrett, check out his butt. There's a green dot back here.
Yeah.
Because that was where the weak point
Yeah.
was. How does that play out in the game?
It's
Is it
just
really
it's just like they're as you're playing it, they're just talking to each other.
yeah. But I mean, like, do the characters say I found the weak point? It's his butt,
They
or is that
definitely-
you on the player who finds?
They
the
definitely
weak
have
point?
the dialogue as you're going through the phases of the fight. Like when he's about ready to shoot the laser from his tail,
Yeah.
and the debris comes down, they're like, "Get behind!
Take
They're-
cover!"
they're-
Yeah.
I actually
they're
love that stuff.
Yes, they're
Yes.
definitely talking to each other on like, "Oh man!" And there's a moment at the beginning like he puts on a shield. And he's just like not taking any damage, and they have that moment of bewilderment where they're like, "Oh man, how do we get through
Yeah.
this thing?"
Yeah.
Yeah, you hit it, Cloud's like, that's not going to work or something like that.
Yeah, and Barrett's like, try the butt.
Hit him in the butt.
Demo ends right when the boss falls off into the acid pit.
Yeah, that was the end of
Yeah.
it.
Kyle,
Huh.
I gotta say this just because I thought it was really cool. And so before they took us out to all the stations, you're in kind of this like small theater, and a video starts playing, and it looks just like very nice and cheerful. And then it's like a Shinra, basically like propaganda video, informational video, and Jessie like hacks into it, and she's like, "Listen, we don't have much time."
Yeah.
They made it experiential.
Yeah.
They made it
they did.
experiential.
Oh man,
Yeah,
that's really cool.
it is. It is really cool. And
And so that was like prepping you for the mission that you're about to the demo you're about to play.
right.
Yeah.
She's doing two things simultaneously. She's like trying to contextualize it, being like, "Oh, hey, we need you to
Yeah.
help out Avalanche." But then it's
Like
also
Universal
like,
Studios, man. That's
yes,
so fun.
yes, that's exactly what
Yeah.
I said. Yeah. And Damiani brought that up too. He was saying it was like the
it's
Terminator 2.
it's a Terminator
ride.
2, like when Sarah Connor shows up and it's like, hey, come with me, you want to live, basically. It's like, oh, pretty cool.
yeah.
But it was also funny because she like broke down the most basic elements where it was like a potion will recover your life.
Yeah, it was like a tutorial.
Yeah.
It was-
if one of your teammates goes down, use a Phoenix down. Yeah.
It was Neil's presentation from last night, essentially. Like, this is
Yeah.
tactical mode. It's
Yeah.
like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, we saw that last night. Cool.
But not everybody was watching last
Yeah.
night.
Right,
I
yeah,
guess
Right,
that's
they
fair,
got to
yeah.
do it. I just
Yeah.
thought it was a cute thing.
We know what a potion does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to see a special closed door demonstration too.
And Ben did as well?
No,
just
this,
me.
This is just
This
Bradley
was
Ellis,
just me.
so-
Wait, well, who was in that?
Oh, just other journalists, and Katase was there. I was right next to him, dude. He was demoing the game with his team and explaining it all.
So exciting, dude.
And there was a battle mechanic that was not in the demo we played that I saw. So essentially, it looks like to me that you have two forms or stances you could switch between on the fly. So with Cloud, there was a thing called Punishers, pushing triangle. You could
I
do
did
it.
see. I saw that in the menu.
So
I didn't make.
if you
Yeah.
push triangle, Cloud would attack slower but do more damage, and he would also auto attack if he got hit. He would auto attack him back.
He's got counter.
But if you got hit by magic or range or something like that, he would get knocked out of it. And every character has some unique thing like that.
Oh, Brad, I bet you unlock them.
Maybe, yeah.
That is so cool.
But like,
Did Barrett have one? He's got his own.
yeah,
mode?
I couldn't remember exactly what his was, but he
Yeah.
did have one. Yeah, they all had them.
Cool.
I also saw the beginning of the bombing mission. So what we played is essentially the end of the bombing mission. I saw him coming in on the train, coming out. Kyle, it is sweet, my friend.
So you saw the
Brad.
Yes.
Did you see like Cloud and Barrett in the elevator and that
I
tension
did.
that they have?
I
Okay.
did, and Jessie
I
was
love
there,
that.
like kind of trying to break the ice.
Nice.
She's like, "So you like know Tifa, right?" And Cloud's like, "Yeah, me and Tifa." Barrett's like, "Shut up!" And, like push Cloud aside, dude. And Wedge is trying to like talk to Cloud, like trying to be friendly. And Cloud's like, "One second, my money, I'm out of here." Just shutting him down, like the classic Cloud that Brandon Jones hated.
Yeah.
Just it was perfect. The smugness, the arrogance, exactly what he should be right
Story
there.
starts there. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
It's a
also,
launching point.
the game adds a lot, just more character moments, Kyle. Just letting you get to know these characters more. Like,
Cool.
I've never, like, this is more dialogue than Jesse had the entire game.
Yes.
Just like what I'm seeing them doing right here. It's just like nice character moments. They're just stressing, like, again, the whole game is Midgar.
Yeah.
So we're going to get a ton of extra stuff. It was awesome, Kyle. You going through, you got your chest, man. A little more exploration, showing like cool things, like the crew kind of ribbing Cloud. So like they're hiding and like they would open the doors and Cloud would have to fight everything and then they would sneak by Cloud and he's just getting kind of annoyed. They're like, "See you later," when he has to like fight all the guys. That's what Jesse's like.
Yeah.
"See you later," pretty much.
Oh,
like
in the
that.
subway scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because like they don't know Cloud. They're like kind of learning to trust him. Like, who is this guy? Soldier?
Yeah.
Poor Wedge trying to be nice. Just everyone's telling Wedge to shut up. It was really great though.
So in those chests, probably is there any do you unlock
Loot.
any weapon at any point?
No, there was no weapon. Like we
Okay.
saw in the trailer, Cloud had a different sword at a time.
Yeah.
So you will get stuff like that, but he was just getting like gil and items.
And you
stuff
didn't
like
get to
that.
play with materia at all, right?
No.
No.
menu fiddling
They
at
like
all.
briefly brought up materia, but like nothing in depth whatsoever.
Gotcha.
There was a mechanic that they brought up in the Universal Studios portion that I didn't actually get to see that could be really cool. Is they were like, hey, there will be times where enemies will completely incapacitate one of your
Yes.
party members by picking them up and grabbing them. And what you will need to do is you will need to switch to another party member, stop what they're doing, and free them by attacking. And if you don't do that, the party member that is incapacitated will take a ton of damage.
Massive damage.
So all three of you, the Scorpion never
No.
picked you up?
Did
That
for me.
did.
Okay.
it-
Oh.
All
Yeah, I
right,
let it- I
Damiani.
let it
What,
do
so
it.
what
cool?
happened?
Yeah, it was
I
like what happened in
let
the
it do
trailer. It read the red reticule went on Cloud in that last phase.
Yeah.
And or second last phase. He just scooped up Cloud. I was like, just pushed up to go to Barrett, and it was like, boom, 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 and used an ability, and like Cloud just broke free, and it's like, yeah, it was just like that. It was like really simple, really easy to do.
Cool.
I feel like it was good to do because it made it wobbly. It built its stagger faster, so it felt I felt like it was encouraging you to almost like do that intentionally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they
was like,
showed
"Oh,
like
yeah."
a machine stepping on Cloud.
Yeah, that was brutal. I
Yeah,
was
like
yo,
you're having to shoot him off him.
crush
Awesome.
Cloud.
Yeah, just like a cool little sense of urgency you got to deal with real quick.
Sorry, the Scorpion picked up Cloud. Oh, is there a dodge? Is there no
Yes,
dodge?
yes,
circle-
Circle's dodge. Okay.
Yeah.
So like you see the reticle on you. The,
Yeah, you
the
could dodge
expectation
it.
is that you would dodge.
So if you,
Or you could run around. And you could sprint too.
Yeah, you can
Gotcha.
like roll around and get out of range and stuff. Like as I said, like it does AOE's, it fires missiles at you and stuff, but you know, just stand still there, it just like grabs you and pulls you up. It's yeah.
Something that I liked during the Scorpion boss fight is I was like, okay, am I going to be able to just roll away from everything? Like, is that going to be my default defense? And definitely during the slower attacks, I felt like the roll was more effective. But the faster, like the quick gun attacks that the Scorpion boss would have, I felt like it would be much better to block because like
Cool.
trying to roll and then getting hit, you would get staggered. And so just blocking and taking it would allow you to act sooner. And so, yeah, it was nice feeling like both of those defensive options were equally valuable.
Yeah.
so to go in the most basic mode, sorry, X is pause time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Square is attack.
Tactical mode.
Your normal attack. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Triangle is swap stance.
Yes.
When it's available.
When it's
Yep.
available.
And circle is dodge. Mm-hmm. And then the R buttons are all attached to hotkeys.
The L2 or R2.
Okay.
And something to emphasize about the abilities, it wasn't like Cloud just had Braver, which was like, hey, if you want to do a good chunk of damage, do Braver. There were other attacks, like there was a dash forward, there was a triple slash,
yeah.
and it was like, okay, well, if you're fighting multiple things, use this attack. If you want to focus on getting that stagger, do this attack. And so you'll have different abilities for different
Yeah,
situations.
but like, I want
which
to
you
use
could
this
assume.
ability.
Yeah.
Yeah. in this
But it was
situation.
nice to see in the demo.
Yeah, it's cool.
Cool.
Like a little layer of depth and complexity of the combat I didn't expect.
Nice.
Like I thought at the I thought it was gonna be like more Kingdom Hearts, I guess. Just more slashing, dodging, like hotkeys, healing and stuff like that. But
Definitely
it's a little
slower
more
than that.
slower,
Whoa.
a little more deliberate.
Nice.
Kind of thinking about what you're gonna do more.
Cool.
The lock-on system was interesting because, I mean, obviously it's just the R3 stick to lock on, and then you can like move it to toggle between them, or if you're using an ability, it's just like the old-fashioned like go down a list. But enemies like line of sight, like you can't, it just doesn't automatically hit stuff. There was some aerial enemy that was behind one of the like kind of like the fence part of one of the upper like levels, and it had like a X like through it, so like it wouldn't be hit. And I tried using Barrett's one of his abilities to hit it and just didn't hit it. I was like, okay, good. They have line of sight there.
The world is real, yeah.
You saw in the trailer or the demonstration, like it targeted right and left leg during the fight at the end.
At the very end. Which
And
didn't make
I
sense
was
to me,
I
yeah.
was too far behind it, and it wouldn't target. It was targeting, trying to cut through the legs in front of it. So it was like its hind legs and front legs. It was trying to target the front legs for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 times I tried an ability and it just didn't connect. I was like, oh well, then forget this. I'm just gonna go after the boss and stuff. So like you do have to account for like physical position as well.
Well,
Yeah.
it kind of defaults to like this soft lock-on system where it'll automatically put a cursor on your target, and then you can switch between them by using the right analog stick. But if you click the stick in, it will hard lock on that target as
Cool.
well. So
Yeah, man. I was
it
very
feels
pleased.
so far away now that we're talking about
I was
it.
very pleased. Oh, music's great too.
Yes,
the
the
music's
music
good.
is fantastic.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I stayed on the title screen for a while.
Did you?
Yeah, that's Damiani's
awesome.
seal of
Because it was
approval
like
right
the
there.
main theme, and I was like, I like this rendition. I'm going to chill here for a while.
Yeah, you know what? That's the only shot you got for like months and months. Why not?
Talking with Brad and Damiani not immediately, but after we had all played it, something that I thought was interesting is like in the final phase of the fight, he's trying to heal up, and I think there they want you to target the different parts of the legs.
Yeah.
But you can definitely just be
mash
like,
it.
nope, like we're gonna brute force this
Yeah,
with
just
damage and
stagger,
just
yeah, build.
focus on the main
Because
unit.
in
and
the
bring it
demo,
down.
the ATB could build up really fast.
Cool.
I don't know if it'll be like that in the
Right.
game, but it's really fast.
right. Yeah, hard to tell if the difficulty
Yeah.
will be representative of what we're getting, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was exciting.
You answered all my questions.
Did we?
Yeah, I feel sad. Like I had a bunch of questions about what that game's like. And
I
you
had
answered all
questions,
of
but I
them.
didn't get to ask any. I was sad.
Sure. So that one was strictly demo, and then Kitase said, "Get out."
They were like, it was like, it's never the game person. It's like the PR people.
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah.
always shut it down.
Yep,
They're
of
like-
course.
One of those things.
Man, I wish we could have just seen Materia slotting in,
Yeah.
but I'm
Gotta
just
save some
I'm grateful
stuff.
that we
Yeah.
got to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a game that
I was
exists.
reassured and feel very happy about it.
Cool.
Next
Yes.
game,
Next game,
which is
The Avengers.
the Avengers.
I'm
Brandon-
out of here.
Marvel's
Yep.
Avengers.
So
I'm out of here. I'll get Brandon Jones.
I know it doesn't matter if we say this, Ian. I don't know if we're gonna mass this part, like cut to something like a
Baby, he's
schedule.
just running in.
Okay.
Just
just
run.
running
Come
in.
on in. And
All
where's
right.
Where's Michael Huber?
I know there was feedback
Michael,
where people
you
said,
wanna go talk about
"Hey,
the
it'd be nice if you
Avengers?"
went to a screen, so we don't see people walking in and out."
Who said that? We said
Feedback
that.
from last year.
I think last year they're like, "Hey, we missed the in between. We want to see you all goofing around and like we get
We're
mad."
in a
when-
studio now.
Okay.
This is not.
I think it's
goofing
an
off.
even split. I think when we're doing press conference reactions,
This is serious.
then we want
Huber.
this to be clean.
Huber has some serious questions.
But if we're doing this,
Questions.
we're running and we're gunning.
I did fail Huber today. Huber asked me to like message him immediately and to let him know if it was like actual gameplay for Avengers. And it was like not until I saw him walking around again for the second time I was like, Huber, yes, it is gameplay.
Humor.
Like 2 hours later. I was like,
Wait, so you played too?
We did not play.
not
We saw
Okay.
a demo. Basically, saw the whole trailer. It was
what game is this again?
Avengers.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Just-
let's give
just
Bloodworth a nice
Avengers.
clean open.
Yes.
Actually. Okay. Bloodworth, start your marker right now.
So Michael Damiani and I were fortunate enough to see a behind closed doors the presentation of the Avengers
Yes.
gameplay demo of Avengers Day that you see in the trailer that people could also queue up and go see. But Damiani got to sneak in there
This
and
was
check it
a
out.
hot ticket item. People
Oh,
were
at E3?
fighting to try and get into this.
Yeah, I'm
just
sure.
walking up, like begging to get into this, and they were turning people away.
I was one of those people. I went up. I was like, you got any extra?
Yeah, like we're not talking average
spots?
people. We're talking about
Yeah.
like high up people,
Yeah.
like
Oh,
journalists.
you're
who are
saying
like,
at the media desk.
they're like, I don't actually have an appointment, but I'd really like to see this, and they were just like, sorry, you don't
was
have
me.
an appointment. We can't do anything about it.
yeah.
I
Like-
took a picture. Actually, they had right in front of the line. It was a Shield logo,
Yes,
and I was so pumped on it. I was like, yes,
They gave you something.
yeah, representation.
They give you cookie crumbs.
And this was played, so there was
Yes.
there was someone on site that was actually playing the demo. So
Yeah, we walked in there. We see the title screen. Got an X, like press X to start.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, we were seeing gameplay immediately.
Press
And
X
I-
to start.
Yes,
And
So
I
this
could-
is running
yeah.
on PlayStation.
it was a blue X.
Oh, okay, got you.
okay, yeah.
What does that mean?
That's an Xbox.
Yeah,
There you go.
PlayStation is like pink X.
No, dude,
No,
blue. It's
blue
a.
X.
It's a blue X.
It is a blue X actually.
Well,
but
the-
never
the-
stylized as a blue
Yes.
X.
The
This is
surface.
not what I want to talk about.
Damiani
Yeah.
did this with Final Fantasy II, Jones. He really throws me off my
This
game.
isn't
I know. I'm throwing off here.
I'm
This
like-
isn't it.
I'm
Well,
riding a bike
no,
and Damiani's
I
throwing
thought-
sticks into my
We're,
wheels.
we're like disconnected now. I think Kyle's trying to do bits, and we're not doing bits. So
No,
We're not doing
Kyle's
bits.
being serious.
I'm genuinely
We're
Damiani.
doing an Avengers bit.
With both of these games, I'm genuinely extremely interested.
yeah.
Yes.
Though
I
I need to
definitely
know.
recognize
How
it.
I could tell that the guy was playing this is there was one point, there were a couple times where he like wanted to make something cool happen. You could see he was like setting something up and it didn't quite
Yeah, I
happen.
didn't.
And I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah.
There was one classic. I was like, "Ooh, sorry, buddy, didn't quite go."
Oh, Joe.
He picks up. He's Hulk.
Yes.
He picks up a dude.
Yeah.
Winds up, turns towards the edge of the bridge. I'm like, I don't know where that guy went. Like, yeah, I like
It just
gone.
Oh, so he like drops
Like-
the guy.
I was totally ready for the toss right off the bridge. And I was like,
the same
vanished. I don't know where that
Small's
dude
trying
went.
to throw the ball in.
But and I wonder what I've been trying to figure out, Damiani, is like I wonder if actually of all the demos that I saw today, I wonder if like this is actually moment for moment something we're going to play in the game, or if this is a level that's going to be in the game, but it was not doctored, but like influenced somehow. Like they gave the player abilities that obviously you want to
like,
Short-
yeah.
maybe
increase
too.
player health and everything, so you have somebody dying right in the middle of an exclusive
Jones,
demo.
that's like every E3 demo.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah.
Because it was just ability. It was crazy. Like especially like Thor and Hulk were just like
They had-
whoa. Like everything he did was a completely different move.
Basics here. So you
Yeah.
understand the combat system.
Yes.
The
Okay.
first thing they do, the first actual combat thing you see, QTE. The triangle button from Thor.
Right.
Thor doing like the smash with the hammer and electrifying and stunning everybody. So they're like, yes, there will be QTE things here. But it is a basic melee combat system where you're doing like combos to build up, but you have these abilities that are on cooldown. These big circles on the bottom right corner.
How
It looked
many?
like two general
There's, like, two
abilities
general,
and then a
it builds
super
up to
one.
like a super one essentially.
Cool.
And you just gotta like you use them. You gotta watch them recharge. You could pop them again, and then like the super ones were like and like they looked good. But the combos they like didn't show. They weren't explaining like the inputs, anything like that. They just,
Right.
like they left it up to your imagination to see what's going on. So Thor's just like bashing people, like bam, 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 up, bam, bam, bam in the air, slam down. It's like. And then none of those cooldowns ones off. It's like, is that just like a regular combo? Is it like two buttons, heavy, weak? Didn't explain that part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised by Thor. Like Thor, like when a random soldier comes up to Thor and he's got to hit him like 5 times. I'm like, that's
not right.
That doesn't
That's
seem
not
very
right.
Thor-like to me.
Yeah.
I think
It's like,
out of
what?
everybody, Thor was a little disappointing just in what he did in the demo. He was also the first character you played as, and he's just kind of having a skirmish in the middle of the street, and it's like it just seems weird that Thor would swoop down to their level and. But it was just the introductory level. Loved everybody else though. Loved all
Yes,
of the
as I'm
other-
about to get to, we got to see all 5 Avengers fight
Right.
in this. They just went advance to each next one, and that second one when Iron Man, it kicks in and you're like flying. It's like a shooter all of a sudden. I was like, okay, like each one's gonna have a unique play. Like, yes, this is good. Like I was really excited about that part because I was a little like, okay, it's Thor. Yeah, it's like it looks just like a general action game, and then bam, a generic action game. Bam, they hit you with Iron Man. I was like, oh yeah, like locking
So
on.
how
I was like,
is that gonna work in multiplayer?
This level is not indicative,
Yes.
but they
Yeah.
did. They showed a couple bits at the end where I'm like, there we go. Okay,
So
that
wait-
looks more like Marvel Ultimate Alliance. That looks more like you can see like everybody fighting simultaneously.
I do want to explain that off the top because we learned this crazy thing today. When you're playing through the campaign of the game, you don't select your characters.
Okay.
They're just particular missions for particular characters as you progress through the story.
Yes,
Interesting,
that,
okay.
that makes sense from what we saw, because
Sure.
when at a certain point there was a scripted event where Iron Man says, "Okay, my turn to jump in and stuff," and
Yeah.
it switches perspective to Iron Man.
Yeah.
And then later on, like I was wondering, like when Thor jumps over that gap and smashes like the tank that you saw in the trailer, I was like, are they just gonna make that? Like I was telling you, Hubert, I was like, is that just gonna be like if you're playing as Iron Man at that point, is it gonna be Iron Man doing it? It's like no,
Yeah.
you switch. The
Right.
game scripts it so that you will switch to each character at certain beats in the level. Yeah.
And I think Jones and I said maybe that's just like where the game starts, and then you pick your character for the rest
Yeah,
of
I
the
just-
game.
yeah,
It's
I
not
just-
that. It's
yeah.
that for the whole game.
I don't know. I really feel like this first level is just a little. It's the variety pack of cereal.
Sure.
You know, you just get a little taste of Lucky Charms, a little taste of Cheerios. It was just like a little bit of, and it was kind of fun because when it got near the end of it, I was like, oh bummer, we didn't get any Black Widow, and they're like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
She was the big finale.
I
so it
think
was,
they might have toned this down for E3. Like this might have been more of a demo-fied like version of the level. Like when this like the
I don't know,
8A
yeah.
level is finally revealed, I think there might be more to it.
Yeah.
I definitely think like because everything was like the timing of everything was like yeah, we just got enough time of every single character. I mean that maybe that makes for a good tutorial, but it seemed a little too planned for hey we only have this much time to show you all the characters. Here you go.
I mean, the Spider-Man demo, same thing.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we
Like,
cut out a whole
exactly,
section
yeah.
and stuff like that.
I'm extremely concerned about this game.
oh, Huber, okay.
Like, it is my most concerned game of E3 by far. Like, I'm not concerned about anything except this game. Help me understand two things,
'Kay.
or put my mind at ease. One of them I don't think you'll be
Try.
able to.
'Kay.
One of them is just straight up level design.
right.
I can't. I just keep picturing Anthem in my brain. I imagine playing this game multiplayer, just having these like really basic arenas where you just go in and attack. And then two is the impact. The brief trailer I saw, I didn't feel the impact from
yeah.
people hitting, and now you're saying
Oh.
Thor took like
Yeah.
7 hits to hit. Your 7 hits to kill
They
someone.
said 5. They said
said
5.
5, yeah, 5, and it's like
They were good. They were good hits, though. You know, like,
Yeah.
and it was fun. Like just like Damian was saying, it's fun to like knock somebody up in the air and then jump up and like smack them down again. Like that
You
felt
know what,
pretty good.
Huber?
And he didn't really go too nuts with the lightning. Obviously, that was like
Yeah, it was
his
just the
big
opening.
His big
It's
crazy
like,
super
yeah.
was just a multiple like
Yeah.
he flew up in the air and
Like when Hulk punches someone versus Black Widow.
Hulk was out of control.
So you
Hulk,
feel
Hulk I
that
think was my
difference.
favorite sequence of all of that
Hulk,
stuff.
yeah,
cool.
I think that one definitely hit it. But I mean, I get your concern, Huber. There were moments because we obviously didn't get hands on with it. We're just
Yeah.
watching the gameplay.
Definitely.
I did have a moment where I thought back to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, where we kind of like we're discussing the weight of the lightsaber hits.
Yeah.
Are those really registering, or is it just is that going to be important to the feel of playing it, and whether or not those hits? I don't know. Does it actually like do you like when you're hitting it? Does it register? And I would err on the side of cautiously optimistic because Hulk did absolutely feel that way.
That's cool.
What did you
Good.
do as Hulk?
That's helping me.
Let's get specific.
Yeah,
Well,
that's getting me hyped.
I want to clarify Iron Man because then that went directly into Hulk.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Iron
Sure.
Man was interesting because it felt like it didn't feel like Star Fox, but I think it was. Like I think you just had to kind of stick on that bridge, basically. Meaning like,
Yeah, like, shoot.
Iron Man couldn't be like, I'm gonna go to downtown San Francisco right now. Like you had to stay
On rails.
like in
Yeah,
the
okay,
you know,
got
on
it.
rails.
It was on rails.
To stay in the
Thank you.
sequence. And when you took over as Iron Man, he kind of flew over where Thor was and headed along the bridge. So I think for like an intro to a game, it's a very clear line. It's like the bad guys are going along the bridge, fly along them along the bridge.
So
like,
we're probably not going to do a lot of flying in multiplayer, so what that means to me.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, it's the whole thing was
this
geared around that
extremely
bridge.
Linear,
Yeah.
There's a bridge. You were trying
And
to
so
reach
yeah, like when you took
reach
over
Taskmaster,
when you took over for Black Widow, it's like very cinematic, and like I don't know if each level is going to do that. I just think
Yeah.
it's like a big blockbuster introduction to the character abilities and to the world and to this. Obviously, they want to give a weight to this event that's happening. So not only is Iron Man taking out targets as he's flying in, but kind of reminded me of Iron Man 2 when he goes under the overpass and all the cars are like, vroom, 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 like he was going underneath cars, and it was just like they just had the frame rate definitely buckled. Like,
yeah.
but it's
Hey,
just,
it buckled.
it was early demo, like in the way the classic demos always do, like the first time you see a game, but in a way that I appreciate because it wasn't like, wow, that's frame rate's happening. I don't know what's going on. Like, there's no question why this game was like, hold on a second. Like, I'm exploding 20 cars at once right now. Like,
Yeah.
So Iron Man then switched to Hulk, right?
How was the impact of like shooting things?
I mean,
Does
it
seem
looked
cool?
it looked cool.
Yeah.
It looked, it looked right for that at least. But you remember, I think it was you, Kyle, you specifically complained that, we cut from Hulk jumping out,
Yes.
Bruce Banner to that because
Yeah.
they probably didn't have it done.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was done. That
Oh,
was done.
definitely
We
done.
saw
Yeah,
the
yeah.
full transformation
Yeah,
sequence.
just-
And it was like that. It was like that. It was fast.
Well, did like clothes rip off?
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Did it look
It looked-
painful?
I mean, it looked like he was used to it.
Sure.
Yeah, like he'd been through this process before.
Yeah.
Rated on a scale of 1 to 10.
6, 7.
Oh, it's 7. I'll go 7.
Yeah.
Because you're really close. You're like right on his back.
It was so brief.
And it was
is
the kind of thing
problem.
where
Yeah.
like,
Seven, seven.
like you see his back rip out of the shirt, and then the camera goes over his shoulder, and then he lands, and he's full Hulk. He's got pants on.
Huber, best Hulk transformation? No joke. Lego Marvel superheroes.
Why?
It looks painful. The
Why?
clothes
So
rip
Lego
off.
pieces are like Lego clothes are falling off. Or
Yeah,
something?
dude, it looks crazy.
Awesome.
Excellent
I
transformation.
kind of dug. So Iron Man then lands when he gets around the middle
Mm.
of the bridge, and what I kind of dug about Iron Man is he was like he didn't do a lot of punching. It was mostly firing when he
Yes,
was
that's
like
why- yeah,
like
like
a
it's hard-
melee attacking.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of like boom.
He's definitely ranged.
Like,
That seems right.
he was
Yeah.
very kind of like sneaky and a lot of like he was running at him and he was just constantly like nope, get away.
Were there a lot of one-liners?
That's one thing that I actually really appreciated was everyone was talking all the time. So
Yeah.
it didn't matter who you were playing as.
Oh, you're
There was,
still, like, getting
one,
comms.
There
When
was
he
one
first-
great moment where you were Hulk
Yeah.
and Iron Man said something and Black Widow was like, Tony, concentrate. And he's like,
Yeah.
fine.
Gotcha.
So,
I think his introduction when he shows up to take over for the when Thor drops out and it's him taking over, he says a lot. He has a one-liner there. I forget what it was though. Like yeah, he just had like he just chimed in. With
So
a
many
joke.
Tony Stark jokes
Yeah,
in my
he like
head. It's
lands
like
and
tough
he
to-
says a joke and then he takes off to start fighting. And I was
I'll
like,
take it from here, Sparky.
Yeah.
I didn't laugh at it. Didn't even get
Yeah.
a chuckle from
Yeah.
it.
For
But
sure.
they're trying.
It's expected.
Yeah.
It's just how he talks.
Yeah.
And even Cap, who was the last. Oh no, sorry, Black Widow. No, Cap. We did play as Cap before Black Widow.
Yes.
Or they the demo did.
Yeah, that's interesting.
You could hear him the whole time too, being like, "I'm on the ship right now. I'm trying to figure stuff out." And Black Widow's talking with him like, "What are they doing?" Because she could, and that was neat. Was Black Widow could tell the whole time like, "We're wasting time. Like we shouldn't be here on the bridge. Like it's nice that Cap's on that ship, but like I feel like we're being distracted. Like this isn't." So it was neat to see her kind of like being level-headed, and Thor just like, "I'll take care of stuff," and Hulk just running around, and like Iron Man being cocky. It was not. They definitely grounded that like Black Widow and Cap were the two that were actually like situational awareness. We're kind of looking at
Yeah.
the big picture.
Like SHIELD agents do.
And then
What isn't the ship called Chimera?
Yeah. So the Chimera is the name of the floating ship.
Yeah.
Which like it threw me off. Even in the trailer, I picked
sounds
up on
evil.
that. Yeah, because I was like, wait a second, Chimera?
The Avengers built an evil ship.
Yeah, I mean, Chimera and what's the other one? It's like other name. What was the Mission Impossible? It's was it Chimera and Belefero or something?
I think so.
The
Chimera
two viruses or whatever
Yeah,
named
Chimera
after
virus,
like
right?
yeah. But no, like it like it's definitely like they established pretty early on when you find out like it's like immediately it's Taskmaster, like they say it's Taskmaster because
Yeah.
we're all like talking about that. It's like it's a heist, like but this is a distraction. They're trying to like
Right.
trying to steal something from us. Let's do something about that. And yeah, like Jones, I don't know if this was weird to you. It was a little weird to me, and it's not any fault of the game because obviously they're not going to get the MCU actors, but hearing that banter when they weren't on screen, I was like, obviously Black Widow, I could tell, but everyone else was like, is that Cap? Is that supposed to be Captain? I was like, wait, where's?
Yeah.
I was like, wait, no, that's not the right. I'm not used to this voice. Like, it's gonna take some time to acclimate
Sure.
to the new voices, and it was just throwing me off a little bit. I was like, who's talking there again? And I was like, oh, they said Cap. I was like, okay, got you there. I was like, it's so annoying, but nothing they can do about that.
Yeah.
you know?
But Hulk, man,
Yes.
just like the biggest reaction that happened in that room was Hulk just grabbed two dudes.
Yes, that was
Awesome. Together, and, like that was the one time I like through the headphones I can audibly hear like the whole room like
Cool.
and he's just wall running and another thing that's cool is like he'd be wall running and run past and Iron Man would just fly by him or like Black Widow would say something and you could see her in the distance like hanging onto a helicopter like grabbing somebody. So definitely got to say it wasn't a sense of like all right now I'm Hulk but what else is going on like
So
why
it is
this?
a spectacle.
Yeah, again, it's just a huge set piece. Like,
Yeah.
let's just
Yeah.
start, this, with a bang.
I
and
imagine all the
obviously-
campaign levels are going to be tuned, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finally tuned.
But not as much as that.
Not
like,
as much as this,
You
yeah.
can't have this is like overdeveloped, right? You can't have all these
It'd
overlapping
be kind
things
of boring
throughout
you
the
know?
entire
Like,
game.
You,
Yeah.
like you it definitely did get a sense like that you were kind of watching this. There was like a movie that you were allowed to play, but this is the first time I'm ever being able to control these characters.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put you in a situation with Hulk where like it's so very clear. Again with the bridge, it's so very clear. Like run, there's a gap, there's a wall on the side. Run on the wall. You know, like there's 4 dudes. Like you're maybe gonna like stun Hulk, but like they're not gonna kill you right now. You know, just kind of
Yeah.
play around with his abilities, get used to how different he feels, get to the end, and then we'll load up another character and you can play as them. But and it just seemed like I don't know, like it seemed like a much more like guttural Hulk. He seemed kind of like more Cro-Magnon, like he had like a bigger forehead, his face was a little more pinched, like and his growl just was like a little bit deeper, not like better.
Huh.
You know, like there's so many different variations of Hulk, but
a take.
like especially coming off of like Thor Ragnarok and having like monologues from Hulk, like this was definitely like, and it was neat.
Yeah.
That especially after like all of the the drama that Hulk went through in the last parts of the MCU, it was neat like having Black Widow like flying over the ship and she's like, all right, Bruce, you're up. And he's like, okay. And then he just like walks to the back of the ship, jumps off, lands, and then once he lands and becomes Hulk, Black Widow starts talking to him again and is kind of like telling him what to do. She's like, okay, Hulk, no, go over there, help with this now. So it's like Banner's gone. She's not talking to Banner anymore.
Yeah.
She's talking to Hulk.
Does he still speak?
Not really. I think he said Hulk smash when he
Yeah,
got the tank.
I
but-
but-
He said,
I
like,
love that
the-
Troy Baker is saying
yeah.
Hulk smash.
was that?
You know what,
Did they
you-
confirm that that's him?
Yeah, that's confirmed
all
that in
that
the
stuff?
thing, in the Square Enix
Yeah,
thing.
Well, I know he plays Banner, but I don't know if they got somebody.
Oh, got you.
Because like Fred Tatasciore does Hulk for everything. Like he's done Hulk in Lego. He's done Hulk in animated. He's done,
But he
like,
doesn't
anytime
do Bruce Banner?
No, he's just his Hulk.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So like I don't know if they were
That's
like,
funny.
oh, okay,
Okay.
Fred.
Hulk's
All right,
right
cool.
there.
That's interesting, Jones.
Yeah, his face actually reminded me of the Ang Lee.
Ang Lee Hulk.
Yeah, Ang Lee
yeah.
Hulk with and even
Banner.
like Edward Norton's one as well. Yeah, like it looked like that face.
And
It
his super was just a big gamma. Like his arms got all like like the green energy came off of his arms and just
it's like clap,
like,
boom, like
everything in
big
front of him got
shockwave. Yeah, went
annihilated.
out. Yeah.
How fun is it going to be a customized Hulk?
Oh yeah, I want like multiple.
Not fun.
Wait, what?
I just want normal Hulk. What do you need? You want like different pants?
Back tattoos.
yeah, Planet Hulk.
I
Get him
want
like a
Gray
tribal
Hulk, like-
tattoo.
I want
Yes.
a star on the cheek. Hulk.
one
Cheek
extra
scars
fun
you
bit.
gotta unlock.
One extra
I
fun
would like
bit.
a Mortal
the-
Kombat Hulk where he's like flesh is taken off and that's about it, or just standard
Battle
Hulk.
damage Hulk.
Yeah.
Battle damage Hulk or just normal Hulk.
Yeah.
Cyber Hulk?
the tank moment you like with the tank pilot.
Yes.
Didn't put this in the trailer, but he
Oh,
picks,
where he kicks him.
yeah, but he picks up the thing and looks over, and the guy goes, "Oh shit!" and then
Yeah.
kicks him out of the way. So I was like, "Oh, that's not, that wasn't in the trailer."
Yeah.
Nice little bit. And then we switched over to Black Widow, and
Yes.
Black Widow takes on Taskmaster.
Taskmaster. Yep.
And that was cool because he's I do not know a lot about Taskmaster. This to me cements that it's not in the Spider-Man universe. I had some people tweeting at me, but they were like, I think they could still do it, but he's in both.
Yeah.
There is
and
Taskmasters
very
in
different.
Spider-Man.
And they're
Very
very
different
different
interpretation of it.
Taskmasters.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I'll bring it up.
there was so she starts chasing him. He gets his jetpack, and then she jumps on his jetpack, grabs it. I don't know how much control you had in this situation.
Yeah, that might
I don't
be-
know if you're just like spamming like the punch to just do damage to him, or if you're just kind of like on a ride. But this,
Yeah.
just visually, again, the frame rate buckled, but like just visually, this was the one where I was like, wow, this was so cool. I would love for you to see this one moment because it reminded me of the any of those big long shots. The Endgame had one, the Avengers had one, where
Dude.
you just visited in one
First
shot every
Avengers.
single person.
Oh, I
So
got
she's
you.
flying around
Neat.
him, and like there's Iron Man, there's
Beautiful.
Hulk. You can kind of see in one trailer, but like an ambulance like slides off the bridge, and she yells like Tony, and he like catches it. He's like, got it. And so it's just neat seeing.
You're selling it, Jones. You're selling it. Like my expectations have kind of dipped from the trailer they showed, and I'm kind of just trying to think about what this game is. But you're selling the spectacle of it. Like this is a ride you go on. This is just a
this
big
one mission,
budget
because,
blockbuster ride.
They showed a little bit. It ended with the same thing where like when the whole thing was over, of Tony being mad at Bruce by the the statue and like some of the shots that we had seen, and they deliberately dropped in a couple other, was like some crazy snow level.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
there were two shots
that's right,
specifically
geez.
that I was like, that is regular third-person distance from the character you are playing, and two other characters are next to you, and you're all. It's not like they didn't pick shots at the end where they're like, oh, and another big cinematic crazy thing over a cliff or into a ship or something. It was like you're all just kicking ass. Like, so I definitely think there are going to be moments where it's like, let's just run in and It's really interesting though that they tailor the character specifically for those events.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the mission mode, that's where co-op is, and then you just go nuts and beat up a bunch of robots.
And I wonder too if like that's also kind of open for interpretation. Just over time, they're gonna just like add more like this level before that used to be bound to these characters. Now we've opened it up a little bit.
They've actually said that. So they've said that, like, hey, you did a Iron Man playthrough of that specific level. You can have a different experience of that level with Thor. But it's not meant like, oh, I can drag any character I want at any time into any story level, basically.
Got it.
Because there's probably like on rail shooting levels where you're flying through.
But also, I think it's like story heavy. I think
Yeah.
so. Like the whole idea. This is what
It's
makes me really excited about everything you're just talking about, Jones. Of reassemble. Basically, you have to tell everybody. You have to show everybody. They have to feel how good it is to be in the Avengers. And I really think that they set that up on top. Like the idea of like Tony, there's an ambulance falling and you get to see him pick that up immediately.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's like, oh, we're this team. And then so for you to feel any loss of the team breaking up, you have to have this moment of the team being excellent together.
Yeah.
Huber, I totally forgot. Okay, so I had a couple issues with Thor, but the best thing about Thor is just the Leviathan hammer, bro. So you
How
can
was it?
throw the hammer.
Yeah.
So like one guy came in and he threw it and pinned the guy against the truck, and then punch, jumped in the air, pulled the hammer off of him, and then slammed it down.
Combat designer worked on God of War, the recent one.
Like that was
So he's like, yeah, I know how to do that. He's like,
All right.
I know
So
how
that
to
was
do
cool.
that.
Launches one and then like calls it back too.
And it was-
You see
and
him
it was
flying
neat.
off.
Yeah.
It's like come
And he
back.
did it again in another part, and he kind of
right.
had trouble setting it up, and I could just see the player being like, "Okay, let me stop hitting me. Wait, I'm gonna grab this thing." Like, so I definitely got the vibe like, okay, this guy is playing this and trying to do as good of
Yeah.
a job as he can. But yeah, totally forgot that specific bit.
And I hope there's co-op moves where you can like slam the hammer on the Cap shield or
Hubert,
dude,
that's
yeah.
what
Thor
I'm-
charging up
that's
Iron
what I'm
Man.
looking forward to because we
Yeah.
didn't see that, and I think it goes to Kyle's point about getting the Avengers to reassemble. You got to earn those moments,
Yeah.
like those payoffs when you finally have like Cap comes back and use hammer on Shield thing. It's like yes, like that moment's gonna be so important. I feel, at least I hope they nail that moment. Yeah.
So Black Widow's fighting Taskmaster.
Mm-hmm.
Taskmaster is ex-Shield, which I didn't know, and so he says that as he's flying off. He's like, from one Shield agent to another. Like, you don't know
so
what you're dealing
Star,
with.
why didn't you open with this, Jones?
And
You got anything
The
Shield?
Shield
Anything
stuff.
Shield for
man,
Huber?
you
So
buried
they're-
the lead.
they're
Yo, that
flying-
Coulson cameo? No, just kidding.
They land on a top part of one of like the big
Yeah.
arches of the Golden Gate. He does like a flyby. You have to dodge him, and then pew 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 as he's doing another pass, and then dodge him again. And then he grabs her. They fall off, and then land on a part of the bridge. And then it's just like boss fight. Then it's literally just one-on-one, her versus him. And Taskmaster's deal is that he will memorize your combat moves. You can't keep doing it's like the Borg. Like you can't keep doing the same thing to him. And so that wasn't necessarily represented in like gameplay. Again, it's just that like the first boss fight of the
Mr.
entire game.
Freeze
So they
style.
don't want to, sure.
Oh yeah.
But they were talking about it the whole time. Constant banter between him and Black Widow. And she finally got the upper hand and went invisible, which I don't know.
Yes.
Is that her special ability, or
I
is that
didn't
just
know
like
that.
a lore
Like,
thing?
I'm not. I was shocked. It's like, oh, yeah, just go invisible. I mean, that
He
might
got
be
really
common
pissed.
knowledge. And
She
he
put
was,
the ring on.
yeah, she put on the ring from Frodo, lent it to them, special delivery. Yeah, and he got angry. He was like, oh, okay, oh yeah, Huber. I know we got to actually play it, but like narrative wise, I think this is gonna nail it, dude. And I think spectacle wise, I think it's gonna nail it.
Awesome.
It's
You guys really sold me.
Yeah.
You guys made me feel a lot better about this game, for sure.
And they're adding more people as time goes on.
Yeah.
Like there's hope Coulson will show up.
Yeah.
I want Wolverine. Are we
yeah.
getting X-Men in this?
I don't know.
It's
We'll
going
see.
down, Jones.
Based off Ultimate Alliance 3, dude, X-Men is DLC.
Yeah.
Like they will
Well,
make
it's all
you.
free.
And it's
Yeah.
coming into the MCU. Like,
Yeah.
it is fully
But all this is free.
part of it.
Yeah, you're right. It's free DLC, but like
just gotta have
it's-
to wait.
It's an incentive, right? It's you got to leave something. Leave them wanting something.
I wonder if they're instead of like I don't know if they want to make an actual direct sequel to this so much as they do seasons and there's like a story arc and like I'm really curious to see that concrete roadmap for what they're gonna do because I think
Yeah.
like because
Division
it's so
style.
narrative heavy, I
Yeah.
think they have like a lot of arcs they're gonna plan out, and you're gonna like jump into like maybe it'll be like the Secret Wars arc after this. Who knows what they're gonna do? But they can dive into all that stuff and keep updating this game essentially. Yeah,
I'll tell you my number one fear
Okay.
is that to incentivize us going into the multiplayer mode, the mode in which our skins matter and everything. I imagine the single player mode could get hard, so that we have to go to the multiplayer mode, level up our character to take that character back into single player mode, so it's easier than it was. That's my only concern. I don't.
Do we know if there's cross progression though?
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah.
So single player will you level up in that and multiplayer
Because
together?
it's not like a thing in the menu. It's like when you're selecting your next mission, you're all in the same base, and
Okay.
you select it from there. So yeah, it's all carries
But
over.
then that means that the whole campaign can be played single player or co-op.
No campaign. I don't know if it can be co-op. The missions can be co-op.
The missions.
Yes.
Okay.
Campaign, I think you're solo.
Campaign, got
no
it.
matter what.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh? I don't know. Did not confirm. He
Got it.
talked a little bit before and after, but it was very like, you will finally, get to realize your Marvel dreams and becoming. You're like, all right, play the demo.
experience.
Exactly what they said last
yeah.
time.
But was the chest beam from Iron Man, was that his special? Was that his big charge up?
I believe
Because
so,
I
yeah.
remember he got up in the air and just took out a bus and a couple other things. And I remember like,
Yeah, he,
Should
I
have
remember
been the
looking.
shoulder
yeah,
cannon.
he got-
Should have been his Marvel one.
I remember
he charged
looking-
it up and he's on like unleashed like.
I remember looking
Yeah,
over at
it's really
Damiani. Damiani went.
Yeah.
He like looked at me and nodded like, I like that. Yes. But
Good part.
One more Avenger. The finale. So we get on
Oh,
board
yeah.
the ship.
Cap.
Cap is talking to the whole team.
Yeah.
The shot from the trailer where they sneak up behind him immediately.
Ambush.
Goes into the throw. Kind of like Thor, and then he's got this projectile, but Thor can throw it and leave it and then fight. And like when Cap chucks it, it's naturally going to come back to him. So like you can do melee, but then it's like you're going to have the shield and it comes back. Has like a run with the shield up to knock over
Yeah.
people. Can charge it up. Did a cool move where he threw the shield, hit a couple of people, punched a guy, knocked him over, jumped up in the air, and then grabbed the shield and
Yeah.
then came back and slammed it down on the guy. And that was really cool. And then
How are they just simple punches though?
just the same thing as Thor. It was nice.
Okay,
good
just
impact.
nice punches. Okay.
Not as good as the shield, obviously. But
Yeah.
How about
and it was
kick?
it was
Like,
a,
can
it was
you kick someone in the chest?
I don't want Cap to do much kicking. Is that weird?
he did, yeah. There was
Dude,
like
he
lots of grabs.
kicks.
He would like grab
Good
people, like
kicks.
you'd grab them like by the scruff and like pull
Nice.
them down on the ground.
Yes.
Wrestling
Couple like electro hand dudes came in.
Yeah,
the classic
those
like
things.
reintroducing new enemies coming in through the window. But it was tight corridor, so a lot of it was like falling apart because Cap was chucking the shield all over the place. And then kind of a cool moment they didn't really focus on in the story. Specifically, like a cutscene they didn't focus on in the trailer, but they all assemble on the bridge. Black Widow's the one who's like. She suddenly realizes, like, we're stupid. Like, we should be
Yeah.
on that ship. We got to get Cap off that ship. And both Iron Man and Thor take off towards the ship, and then it blows up and knocks them back in midair. And so they like, whoa, get knocked back, and like Tony's helmet immediately comes off, and he's like, damn. Like you could just tell right away, like we just lost Cap.
Yeah.
And then it like went on with the cutscene and a couple more shots at the end, and that was it. But it definitely like I'm with everybody that it is weird meeting a new cast. It is strange. Thor looks weird. Like it's it's gonna take a while to get used to these characters. But like, and I've said this before, I felt the same way about Spider-Man. Like the first time I saw Peter, I was like, oh, like.
Yeah.
I don't know, like Norman Osborn, and I was like, I don't know if I could really like jive with this world, and like I love these characters now. I'm totally into it. So I think it's going to be a transitional period, and it was framey. There were a couple, I could tell the guy was nervous because he just wanted to set up every cool combo and ability that he could show us. But like there was no question in my mind that Crystal Dynamics was like, whatever we can do, like let's just make everything happen. Like let's just cram as much crazy stuff in the beginning of this game so you can see like how different these characters are, kind of their attitude, how they communicate with each other. It just like those moments. And when I first saw the trailer, when Hulk like jumps over the ledge, I like thought of like Lara Croft doing that, and these big like kind of set piece crazy moments where it's not necessarily like a big crazy open world where I can just go anywhere in this area, but like you do have options. I think they've just kind of proven themselves with the last couple games they've made. So, and it just those games are absolutely gorgeous. So, I have faith. It's just specifically like you've asked multiple times and we don't have the answers. Just like the ins and outs of like how do missions work? How do I load in? How long is each specific
Gear.
mission?
Yeah, is the
does
campaign
gear
5
work?
hours and then we just replay like 4 multiplayer maps over and over? Like, oh, there's more to come, but it launches just bare bones. There's so many questions with this game.
Yeah.
But you guys definitely raised my hype for sure for at least the story campaign being a spectacle and an event.
it was
The
a special.
extra stuff
great
could
wo-
be
it was a great
Anthem.
word.
The
Yeah.
extra stuff could still be Anthem,
Yeah.
but at least you
Yeah.
have that foundation of this really cool story mode.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And at least in like an Anthem, like I cared about my character, but like I never really cared. There was no personality coming through any of the other people that I was playing as, and there were just a lot of really great lines that I just thought was interesting. Not only coming from your character talking to other people, but you could hear other characters talking, and so because like in a lot of action games that I play, that's usually like a person. There's just like one person that's like, hey, I'm the voice in your head all the time. Like Spider-Man had a handful, of like, while you're on this mission, I'm the one that's going to tell you specifically and have a little dialogue at the beginning of the mission, a little dialogue at the end when your fight's over, a little dialogue after the cutscene, and it was just neat having all of them talking at once.
Yeah.
And it'll be neat to have like major story moments set up that way, like introductions of villains and specifically Taskmaster and Black Widow, like recognizing each other and.
Dude, and the culmination when you get them all back.
Yeah.
At the end of that game.
And then who reveals themselves like at the credits? What character, Bossman? Call it
Fantastic
now.
question, dude.
Who is the reveal when you beat that game?
The reveal is got to be unexpected. It is Reed Richards.
Reed Richards.
It's evil Reed Richards. It's evil Reed Richards.
Setting
Yep.
up
Yep.
Silver Surfer.
Sure. Wait for another 3 months. We got DLC coming, baby.
The Surfer's coming.
Surfer's coming.
Yeah. But it's interesting. I could see this being a fun action game with bad trailers. I could see them just like getting kind of confused about how to sell this thing.
Not
And
showing
just-
the Hulk transformation is insane.
because they chopped that sucker up for that
Yeah.
trailer.
Yeah.
Like that was like what we saw was just one big fluid thing. Really smoothly transitioning between all of the characters, really showcasing their abilities. And then if you like look really closely, I get maybe you can discern that. I'm curious to go watch that trailer again and see if anything was different. But for example, when the actual gameplay took over, or I think it was still a cutscene, but when I could tell, because I got nervous when it started, I was like, this is exactly like the trailer I saw. And then
like, oh, no.
when Cap saw the explosion on the bridge and was like, whoa, it's like Thor, Iron Man, go check it out. And then Thor and Iron Man take off and they're flying, and then it was like, oh, here we go. And then Iron Man starts goofing on Thor.
I have a weird theory about why we saw so little gameplay this year.
I love your weird theories, Kyle.
I think that a lot of developers had an Anthem meeting. I think a lot of them talked about Anthem throughout this year and said, how do we not do you know what I mean? Like, maybe we just shouldn't show anything. You know what I mean? Like, maybe we shouldn't give them anything because they're just going to look at our stuff and they're going to be like, it's not as good as it was at E3. And so, like, let's just give them nothing. And I wonder if that's like why they trim stuff out, Jones.
Yeah.
I wonder if
Great
it's just
weird
like,
theory.
I think
Puddle controversy and stuff.
Yeah.
Just like let's maybe just not show as much or show a CG trailer.
I wonder if that's what it is about, dude.
I think it's also just performance things. Like a lot of times when we see something behind closed doors, and I can tell, like, oh, this game is in development.
like you said, it was framey.
Yeah.
And they don't want to show us anything framey.
Publicly,
yeah.
we also saw Cyberpunk today, and they said the same thing before Cyberpunk that they said last year. They're like, it's not an if, you will see glitches. They're like, weird stuff will happen because we're still working on this game.
Yeah.
And so that moment with Hulk, we're like, whoa, where'd that guy go? And like with Thor when he was fighting, I think like one guy kind of got like stuck against the wall or something, and just the frame rate was like, a lot of cars, a lot of explosions.
Yeah.
And the bridge is just falling apart. So like when Hulk's running, it's not just the bridge. It's like all sorts of like scooping up parts of the bridge, like ripping parts and slamming on people, spinning around. That was fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
I will play it, no question.
Me too.
Me too.
Me too.
Me too. They got us.
Next game is Shenmue 3.
Shenmue 3. Are we diving right in?
Let's do it.
'Cause,
Damiani, did you want to go? You're kind of leaning
Don,
over.
Don
No, we
slash
have
Ian
stuff for it, I think.
was with me, so if either of them wants to
There we
hop
go.
in,
There we go. There we go.
Nice jacket.
awesome.
Wait, is Don back there too?
Who?
Okay.
So I was trying to download the Shenmue 3 B-roll
Yeah.
that they gave us a link to.
Yeah?
And there are 4 different games on their press media page. Shenmue 3, only link that doesn't work. So I got some nice grid B-roll.
Okay, let's roll it.
Roll in the grid B-roll.
No Shenmue footage then?
No,
No
it didn't
Shenmue
work.
footage.
The link didn't work.
Okay.
Damn it.
You can try it again later. I left it open, but it didn't work.
There is B-roll somewhere, but then I heard that it's like from an old build or something.
Bootleg B-roll.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's give Blood a nice clean open.
Okay.
Okay.
The day has come. The day has finally come. I got my hands not on The Witcher 3,
On
but
Switch.
on Shenmue 3. Finally played it. And I
well done.
I can
proud of you.
confirm that it is good.
Great.
It is good. There is no doubt.
As a huge doubter in Shenmue 3, I was standing there watching him play it. This game's trailers look janky.
Yes.
Watching him play it in real life,
This is why you're here.
it's charming,
Yeah.
but good. It's a
Yeah.
functional video game.
Okay,
Like,
all
looks-
right,
it looks
the
good.
magic
It
is
looks
there.
good.
And it feels like the old ones.
It
Nice.
does.
It looks, yeah.
It does. It feels like the old ones.
Is there a clock in the upper left-hand corner?
There's a clock in the upper right-hand corner.
Upper right-hand corner. Great,
yes.
great, great. Thank you.
There is a clock.
Nice.
So this was a timed demo. 15 minutes.
Guess what he spent 12 minutes doing.
Gambling.
Yes.
Not 12 minutes.
Yeah.
10
but
at
at
least.
least like yeah, we'll
You
get
went toward the objective with 3 minutes left.
Yeah.
I made note of it.
So it starts out, you're in Bailu Village, which is a location featured in Shenmue 2, and you're looking for a bookie. This is why Shenmue's the best, man. You're straight up, you're looking for a bookie with a scar on his face.
Oh, so you talked to NPCs about it?
yes.
Oh, great, great,
How
great,
awesome-
great.
First of all, how
Yeah.
awesome is that objective?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Find a
looking for a
bookie.
bookie with a scar. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Great.
yeah.
So you're looking for a bookie. You and Shenhua split up, and right away, again, just movement and the village. The vibe is there. The vibe is spot on. It felt so good. It felt like because I just played Shenmue 2 HD recently again, just to catch up and refresh. It feels like that, but just better, smoother. It doesn't, because like Shenmue 1 and 2 are pretty cumbersome. It's like kind of awkward to move around and turn and pick things up and look at things. It feels like that, but smoother, refined. So that was the first thing that I did was I just was walking everywhere, looking at everything.
I get that.
Taking
Yeah.
a knee. The
Yeah.
sun is shining through. Like again, it looks really good to me.
The environments looked very good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And I mean, in the Shenmue style, still
Yeah.
obviously, like don't be picturing Cyberpunk, but like,
Right.
it's very cool looking. Yeah.
Yeah. So, first thing was like I went to the capsule machine first.
Of course,
Did
yes.
that. Bought a capsule toy. It felt so good. He's
you
like, I got a
Like a front loader,
the front loader dump truck thing. It was awesome. Yeah.
like a yellow tractor with a front hoe on it.
Yeah.
So does he still speak? Should
Yes.
he still says like, should
Yeah.
I do it again?
Yes.
Really?
He's like, huh? What's this? Yeah.
One couldn't hurt.
Yeah.
That's so good. Yeah.
And like picking things up in the environment, like I again, it was timed, so I was kind of rushing through, but
Yeah.
just such a big part is being grounded in this world and picking things up and him commenting on it. Like, we're in China now and he's from Japan, so when you pick things up, he'll comment on like Chinese history and like, oh, this is like a
Damiani got the B-roll.
nice.
You got the B-roll, Damiani? We don't see it.
Oh, someone else got it.
Yeah, see, it looks better than this, right? Even the inventory like thing on the bottom looks a little different now. So this is the mini game I did.
Yeah, he did this. But wait, tell him
I
how
thought
you
of
got into this.
Bossman.
Tell him how you got into this because it was so charming.
Yeah, so I go in to the store
Behind the capsule machine.
behind the capsule machine, and the store, I'm telling you, everything about it's so cozy. I cannot stress enough how cozy this village is, which is so nice because Shenmue 2, a lot of it is cold, and Shenmue 1 is so cozy. We're getting those cozy vibes back. Small time village. And I go and I'm talking to this guy.
Just watching you the whole time,
Yeah.
cheering you on.
And I was like, you got any jobs? Like, I need to make some money. He's like, well, if you like chopping wood.
Yeah. and then you're like, I suppose I could. And then he said, well, if you're chopping, I'm paying.
Yeah, if you're chopping, I'm paying.
No way.
That's what the old man said.
Yes.
If you're chopping, I'm paying.
Yes. And just look at, like,
Is this hard, by the way? It looks
it
hard.
was.
Yeah.
He
I
whiffed the first couple. Yeah.
I whiffed a lot, but I think I found an exploit where if you mash, because he kind of starts right above
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So if you just keep mashing, I really
Go
think.
straight back. You're right.
Yeah.
I love that
Found the loophole immediately.
I love that the man even like even when you don't do a very good one, he's still encouraging.
Yeah. So Did that.
Okay.
Immediately took our earnings to the lucky hit board.
So in the trailer, I
Immediately.
saw like a game, maybe it was an arcade. The people who were like rehearsing their martial arts out in the courtyard, you could see this like arcade in the background.
Yeah.
Is that where you went to go play Lucky Hit?
No.
This was in this little village.
Okay.
Right here.
Yeah, right here.
This is Lucky Hit?
I swear it looks better than this.
It does.
I swear this is an older build. I really
This
do
is the
believe it.
PlayStation version.
Or it's just compressed or something. Yeah, but it.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, you buy tokens now to. That's actually because they want to be able to sell the game in China, because gambling. So instead of gambling for real money, you have to buy tokens and then use the tokens. Whereas in 1 and 2, you were just straight up gambling for cash.
Which seems like just kind of a immaterial difference.
Yeah.
But whatever.
yeah.
I mean, they do that in Japan legit with pachinko, right? So yeah, I get it.
So played Lucky Hit,
Help.
lost.
Of course.
Lost big.
Yep.
Every time.
Yeah, every time. It was nice having Don there. I was like, all right, which board should we do? And we did that first one right there with the roosters fighting.
The board looks great, not phoned in.
Yeah.
That
There's
that board, yeah.
One
Yeah.
spot in the middle. It's brutal.
Oh, this person's
board.
doing the same board apparently.
Yeah.
Never trust the middle, dude.
No.
The middle is a temptation.
It was tough. But we lost. But then next, Bossman, another mini game. Turtle racing. Turtle racing. Okay.
Yeah.
I
think
really-
is it which turtle will it be?
You're
I
with
think
this
we have
gentleman, yeah.
Okay.
Incredible stuff, Damiani.
These turtles are in this like diorama thing. Look at this.
They have obstacles?
Crazy.
they are all revving up.
All right, green. I'm going green.
So much.
Let's all bet on one.
Okay,
I
Blue.
think they picked
Oh, they
green.
picked. Yeah, so they're green.
They're gonna win.
Here we go. Look.
Well, what's your pick?
Mash it
Blue.
out.
Oh, I see. So it's not like randomized. It's like I'm controlling that green turtle.
I am telling you
Yeah.
that mashing the button on this mini game is reminiscent of old Mario parties. I was fatigued by the time this was over. My
This-
arm almost fell off.
This
He
looks
was
photoreal
mashing it.
right now. I
He
feel
was
like I'm watching
mashing
four
it
real
as
turtles.
hard
As
he
hard
could,
as I could for like 70 seconds.
and like at first nothing was happening.
yeah.
We were like, how can that not be good enough mashing?
We got a little speed boost. I saw some
Yeah.
sparks came out.
Like he's behind.
He's
it's
not
tough.
mashing. Huber, by the way, smoked.
oh, okay.
It was no contest, but he was freaking out with the mashing.
Yeah.
So Huber did fine.
He did great, but
Oh,
it was
okay.
it was.
Oh, you're gonna pay the
absurd.
price, yeah.
Absurd mashing.
They're turtles.
Your arm will pay the price for doing this.
I cannot believe they came up with this, dude.
I know.
And like the little like checkpoint arch.
Yeah.
What's the significance of that?
And there are
Oh, they won.
just a ton of mini games. Again, I only got 15 minutes, and
Nice,
obviously get to
bro.
see them all. They've confirmed forklifts.
Also, this guy really funny because the guy you're looking for is a bookie with a scar on his face, and if you
Yeah.
talk to this guy,
Yeah.
he'll go, "Oh yeah, that's I can't remember his name, Quan, I think, something like that." He's like, "Oh yeah, I know that guy. He's great. He really helped me out with my turtle racing business." Like he loves that dude.
Yeah.
And you're like trying to find him to like fight him. It's just like what?
The town to me seems too small to like warrant a docks for a forklift.
I don't think forklifts are here.
So
the
is there-
whole game is not in here.
This is a village. The
Yeah,
the
this
dev
is the
called
village.
it just a little village.
I thought the whole
Yeah.
game's in this village.
No.
So
we
what-
go to like a
Oh, yeah,
we
I
go to
think
town.
The
yeah.
trailers have definitely focused on
Yeah.
different.
We go to
Oh,
a bigger.
Okay.
a
I
big-
thought it was all one
different areas.
environment.
Yeah.
Okay,
Definitely
that's
not like
something.
Hong Kong big, but like
Right.
we go to a bigger
Got it,
location.
Got it.
and there
got it.
seemed to be some kind of festival or something happening here.
Cool.
Yeah,
That's why
and-
there are all these festivities.
So there's like two more things. Basically, then after this, again, I had like 7 or so minutes after this, and I was just really trying to soak in the environment. I was just trying to look at
Didn't do
everything.
this.
Yeah, didn't even get
Dice.
to play dice.
That's too degenerate. Dude.
There was
Just
like
rolling
a-
dice in a
just like
bowl.
Sweet coding.
just like a woman cooking in her house, and there's food everywhere. There's such an attention to detail, like the older games. I just wanted to look at everything and pick everything up. There were kids practicing martial arts and like running around playing like tag and stuff. Just vibes, Bossman. The vibes are there. The
Yeah.
vibes are right.
I hear you,
So then
man.
I had like 3 minutes left, and I was like, all right, I'll go fight this guy, fight the bookie. And the demo presenter was like, all right, like unless you train you're not going to be able to beat this guy.
Great.
Basically.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, I want to be the first. I want to go.
Yeah.
So the fighting was a little rough. So keeping our expectations in check here. The fighting was definitely the weak part of Shenmue 3. Now in the others, and I would assume in this, there's going to be QTE fights, which are always cool and look awesome. But then there's the free flow fights that are more like Virtua Fighter, and
They're hard.
well, in the others they were like pretty easy.
Dude, that 999 got that.
Yeah, that's like the hardest one. You can die like once or twice there, but like, yeah, I don't want to call them easy in the originals, but like if you train a little bit, you'll get through it.
Yeah. Well, don't you have to like memorize like combo strings too and things like that? Like, aren't moves hard to pull off?
Yeah, you definitely want to focus on a couple moves that can help you carry it through. But yeah,
What felt off about it?
the animations, the connecting, the inputs. I didn't feel like I was in control really. Again, I didn't train, and I fought this really strong dude. Like I hit him a couple times, and like one of his health balls went away. He hit me like once, and half my health was gone. So you definitely have to train and level up, which is cool. Like I like the idea of that loop and that progression of like feeling Rio getting stronger by training. I think that part will be captured. But yeah, I walked away and I was like, ooh, that was a little rough. Again, we got 5 months, so hopefully they can iron that out. But again, even on the bottom, there was like a combo to do. It was like a AAXX. And I didn't know if that was like AAXX or AAXX. And I was like trying both. Again, it was a time demo, and I was thrown into this, so it was really hard to get a grasp of it.
But in the actual game, you practiced that move 10 times.
Yeah.
So you would have absolutely known the rhythm for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder.
Here's training.
I was gonna say, I wonder if training, not just you getting used to the combat speed, but also, I wonder if the game, if your character gets more fluid and quicker when you're trained.
Sure.
This is how I train.
Yeah.
I'm very strong.
You just stand in horse stance. That is actually
You're
hard.
like leveling that stuff up, which is cool. And again, this is training, and then there's sparring. Sparring is like actual free flow fighting.
We need to give credit to IGN Japan if we're just going to steal their footage. Thank you, IGN Japan, for capturing this.
So
I mean, we would have it if their site worked.
Oh, do you think it's the same thing for everybody?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Deep Silver said there was a bunch of B-roll, so
Got you.
I mean, I don't know if this is the same, but
these minigames look so fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was it. And then the demo was over. I got beat, and he was like, "You need to train more."
yeah,
You
the
know, gives you
Scarface
some
bookie was
wisecrack.
like, go train more, and we'll try again another day.
Huber,
Yeah.
then I think you're a fool if you think that guy stays a bad guy.
Oh, it's probably It's probably.
I think
uneasy
it was like,
alliance.
We're going to love him by the end of the game.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I believe I played PC because I was using an Xbox controller.
Xbox
Yeah.
controller.
And that's some more bad drama, you know. It's a bummer because everyone's
Worth acknowledging.
worth acknowledging. Like, Epic Game Store exclusive now when people that backed this game picked the Steam version, which is now potentially coming out in a year after release. The rumors about them not getting refunds, it is being addressed. They are like, okay, you're gonna get refunds maybe. It's a developing story.
Wait, they would
but
keep it until the Steam release after the window of exclusivity?
Yeah, so
instead
Epic-
of just giving it to them on Epic?
Yeah.
Weird.
So Epic would get it for a year, and then it would come to Steam. It's
that
all
case, that's
developing
BS.
now.
Yeah,
It is
that's bad
absolute BS and a bummer. If I want to put my brand manager hat on, the game is made with Unreal Engine and Epic. Obviously, them trying to give the game the best chance possible.
Well,
And
and if
this-
you use the Epic Engine, don't you get like an even bigger disc? Like,
Oh, yeah, this does use Unreal Engine, doesn't it?
Yeah,
on Epic.
but again, I don't want to excuse that because like if you back this game
No, man.
for Steam, like that is BS. Either get your money back
Right.
or give me a code for it. I mean,
when it's
the thing
day and
is 'cause
date,
people-
I'm like, whatever. But if it's
Yeah.
like you have to wait another year,
Yeah.
that's
There's
brutal.
no, they'll give you the Epic Game Store code.
but the people that
Oh.
don't want that and want to play on Steam, like if they are
Yes.
firmly attached to Steam, like that is, what do you do there? Because that's BS.
I think you
They
can
put
launch
$300
external games
down.
on
I think
Steam.
you put Shenmue 3 over your own pettiness at that point. I think at that point you're like, Shenmue 3 is
Yeah.
worth it. I'm not gonna wait a
I'll
year.
play it
I'm not gonna
anywhere.
be mad about this.
Yeah.
This sucks.
Yep.
I'm angry, but like this is a game that exists now. I'm
Yeah.
willing to play this on the Epic Game Store,
I'm willing
which
to
I
click
hate.
a different button.
Right.
True.
Or just save a desktop shortcut, and then you won't know which thing is launching it.
I like that.
I'm not trying to be cynical about
We know,
it. It is
we
an
know there are
issue.
plenty of issues.
It
with
is
Epic
an
Game
issue.
Store,
Definitely,
yeah,
definitely.
obviously
How are
not.
you not trying to be cynical? We're doing such a good job.
But like if it's like, hey, you gotta come to the Boston market to pick up this game. Like I'll do it.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
you're like the what? The Boston what now?
Pick up Avengers at Popeyes.
Yes.
Okay.
It's in the French fries. You gotta go in the back. You gotta take it out of the French fries. Like I'll do it. I'll still go in and do it. By the way, I
do it.
love Popeyes.
That's a new. That's
That's a treat.
Did you hear that game's gonna be in the French fries? Oh, are they really gonna French fry that game?
Bossman and Jones, any questions or any more hype, less hype, comments, concerns?
I don't know nothing about no Shenmue.
But did you like what I said or what you saw? The mini
I like what you said. I like what Ian said.
Dude, I'm on the edge of my seat for you describing this game.
you
I
know
literally
what-
just want to learn about everything that there is to know about Shenmue 3 from
Do you know what I want to do? What watching him play this demo made me want to do is have Huber and Dawn and whoever sitting on the front couch streaming Shenmue 3 while I'm watching and kind of dozing sometimes on the back couch.
Dozing sometimes.
We will.
The dream, dude.
Set up a
Full
little
playthrough.
hammock for you.
Yeah, I'm just like, where are we at?
bring a
Forklift
blanket.
races?
We went.
Great.
We're in a different town, Ian. Lovely.
Bring a blanket and some tea,
Just
dude.
like
I got you.
maximum
Yeah.
coziness.
I've got you.
Honestly, I get it. Like sometimes I miss having a roommate who's just playing video games. Like
Yeah.
sometimes there is like this comforting factor to that.
Who just like
I
never
totally
goes
get
to
it.
sleep and
Yeah.
is playing Battlefield 1942 for just like hours.
Yeah.
I like it. It's the theme.
So that was our Shenmue 3 hands-on impressions, looking so good. Little concerned about the combat, but we got 5 long months to iron that out. Everything else is shaping up, and I'm so pumped.
Are you saving the thing that happened for the episode?
Yeah, watch my episode for a little surprise.
Oh come on, man.
Because something get those clicks, right?
There
Sell
was
it.
yeah.
Sell it.
I'll just
Jones
say-
loves it.
No,
Little
I love it
tease.
too.
A
I'm
little
proud of you.
tease.
The right thing.
There was a
You're doing the right
magical moment that happened.
You're doing the right thing.
Yeah. Watch his episode Thursday.
Yep.
If Don gets it
Yeah, probably
cut,
Thursday.
we're all working constantly, so
Yeah.
who knows if we can get these.
Maybe Friday or
Thursday,
Saturday. or
Friday,
something.
yeah.
Saturday.
Big
yeah.
week. Big
Stay
week.
off Saturday. That's my time.
I do like
Stay out of
imagining.
Malibu, Lebowski.
Yeah, I like imagining the demo starting up and just 14:59, and you're like,
I know. It was. Yeah.
I was
I
actually
tried
proud
to
of
tune it out.
I was proud of him because he said, "I'm gonna ignore the timer."
Yeah.
And the first thing he did, just a slow pan of the
Yeah.
environment.
Nice. dude.
Yeah.
And I, was just-
Respect
I would have
it.
been like,
Respect.
well done.
run
And the
the
guy-
and the guy was like, R2 is run, and he's like, I'm walking.
I'm walking.
R2 is run.
I'm walking.
RP walked all the way to the village.
"It's great.
Oh my
It's
god!
great.
And then just played gambling until 3 minutes
Great.
left.
It's great. I'm proud of you."
Still got to fight the bookie.
Yeah.
Nice.
Didn't train.
Should have trained.
Should have trained. The demo guy, he kind of like gently said a few times, like, well, no one's ever beaten him without training.
Yeah.
The dojo's right behind you across this bridge. Like, you could train. There's time.
I think, but I think you're playing it wrong if you like you hop into that demo. Oh, I must train. I must beat that guy by the end of the 15 minutes. So it's
Right.
like
Yeah.
you're not playing it wrong. Play how you want to play.
Play how you want to play. But also, too, that's like Shenmue encourages taking a knee.
Yes.
So you lose to this guy.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, now I got to train. I can go talk to people, make some money.
Yes.
Live in this village for a bit, then come back when I'm stronger and more capable.
Yeah.
So.
Also, the guy did say if you beat the bookie, the demo ends.
That's
Oh,
fine.
yeah.
So if you
really
do
funny.
better, you get less of the game.
Yeah.
So
All right. What's
what's
next?
Next is Cyberpunk.
Oh.
Get that blood.
Get that blood. I'm clearing out.
Get up on that blood.
Can we
Get
have
up on that
like
blood.
everyone talk about this? How does that work? Because how many people saw this today?
I saw it.
And I
saw
saw
it
it.
too.
You
I
saw
got
it.
this
I
jacket.
think it's gonna be this table, man.
Because
Blood saw it too.
And Blood and Ben and Brad saw it too,
Ben
right?
and Brad saw it.
And Damiani? Can we like cram 7 in here? Is that
I
possible?
mean, we've got 3 stages.
Well, Damiani can chime in on the mic.
excellent.
Damiani can chime in on the mic, and the other room can chime in if we hit record and turn 7 up.
Record turn 7.
Or select.
You have to hit record for it to.
It has to be blinking red or it won't activate the track.
Ah.
Yes.
Good to
Also,
know.
they don't require phantom power, so don't turn on phantom power for 5 to 10.
Phantom NK.
Phantom NK. Composer of such tunes as the Mysterious Monsters theme song, the Easy Allies podcast theme song.
There he is.
So how do we want to roll this?
Everyone. I want everyone in here. Or Ben can take my seat.
I mean, we have 3 stages. Just putting that out there again.
Ben, get up here, man. Sure. Get up here. You sure? Yeah. Get him on this desk.
Why are we all not wearing the jackets?
I didn't.
Mine's in the
Because you
car.
look so good, it would just put the rest of us to shame.
It's true. It's true.
I just thought we were all going to wear the jackets.
Did you take those during the demo?
What's that?
Did you take those notes during the demo?
Man, it was hard.
Yeah.
It was really
I was
it
gonna
was
say.
super dark in there, and so I was trying, and I would use my phone to write, and then the phone would go off. Yeah, so I didn't take as many notes as I would have liked, but I tried my best.
The guy next to me, Max Brightness, was just chatting on his phone.
Man, during that?
During
Yeah.
that, and I like looked over at him a couple of times. I was just like,
Do you
really?
know how many people would kill you right now to be
Right,
in that seat?
right.
Right.
And I was just like, what are you doing, dude?
That's
Like he wasn't like
fine.
I looked at his phone only to check if he was taking notes. If he was taking notes, fine.
I got asked 7 times about the Cyberpunk bag I was carrying around. It was like, what is that?
Yeah.
This is my thing. This is how I do.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
An electronic arts employee was like, dude, Cyberpunk, where'd you get that?
You should have said my new arm.
Yeah.
My new arm.
Yeah. My cybernetic enhancements.
We definitely need to wait for Huber to get back in here. Once
He's not coming back in here.
No, I think he was going to be in
He gave up his seat for
We don't have
Ben.
enough chairs.
We have 3 stages. We can all be on camera and talk.
I think Huber can.
Well, okay. If Huber's talking from there, we need to be able to hear him then.
No, because they're taking a break back there. So.
All right, Huber's taking a break.
Huber's taking a break?
He just talked about Shenmue.
He didn't want to talk
Huber
about
just said
Cyberpunk.
everyone on the stage.
Kyle and Brad are taking a break, so you need to bring a 5th mic in there and a 5th chair, or
Well, we can't do that.
He can come in here. He can just come in the director's room and
Sure.
Do that.
Just chime in.
Huber, just come in the studio room in here. Huber in here.
Hubert. He was wearing the headphones. He could hear Damiani.
Thank
Actually,
you
if
for
he picked up
watching
the
our
wrong
Cyberpunk
headphones, he
impression.
would
Thank you
have.
for watching our Cyberpunk
We are
impressions.
easy allies. You won't get this anywhere else.
If he picked up the wrong headphones, he would have actually just been like listening to my
Listening to your
muted
computer?
That
laptop.
might be my like my number one favorite mode. It's just when he out of nowhere. Cyber.
I really got to remember for like a montage for next year's E3. I always forget these great moments. I got to like write them down.
Yeah.
But like for next year's E3 montage, I really want to put, take a look at this.
Oh, before we get into
lovable man.
actual impressions, I want a very nice moment. One of the Cyberpunk devs or staff at the event, I'm not sure, I don't remember exactly what their position was, but stopped me and said, "Easy Allies, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Hey, I just want to say we really appreciate what you guys do and your reaction videos and everything. It really means a lot to us."
We had a.
And I was just like, "What you do really means a lot to
Right.
us."
Isn't that crazy?
Uh,
I had 2 moments like that today where I was trying to get to my Borderlands 3 appointment, and some guy came up and he's like, "Oh, hey, big fan." I was like, "Oh, cool, thanks, man." And I shook his hand. I was like, "Gotta, trying to get to this Borderlands appointment." And he handed me his card. It's like technical environmental audits at 343 Industries. I was just like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Be cool.
I say Hotake.
Yeah. I think we're good to go.
We got Huber?
Probably.
You got me.
Yeah, nice.
Yes. Yeah, Huber was at my demo, so it was great to get a good
well,
little shoulder grab every now and
Yeah, I
then.
was sitting by
Can we
Jonesy.
start with Keanu? Can we talk about this?
How
Keanu
often he's in this thing?
Yeah.
Keanu is the way you summed it up is he's Cortana.
He's Cortana.
Except in a very cyberpunk way. He's implanted in a biochip in your brain. He's basically infecting your mind for the whole game.
And his
First part of the
His
game?
I
attitude is
think it's like an arc, because we kind of
Probably.
see when he gets implanted in the trailer.
Yeah, they said 2 major story events have happened prior to the demo we saw, and both of them kind of basically ended up with you having this biochip implanted. You're infected with Johnny Silverhand,
Yep.
yeah.
who is Keanu Reeves, and you have the secret to immortality, which
Right.
sounds like uploading consciousness.
Ian, I thought of you because his name is Johnny Silverhand, and I thought of Johnny Mnemonic.
Yeah, dude.
His attitude
I
throughout
did
the
too.
whole thing.
Whoa.
I thought of Johnny Mnemonic also.
His attitude throughout the whole thing was perfect. Like every time he would pop up, it was like he was kind of pissed off and disgruntled, and he'd like throw a cigarette on the ground. But he was also like had a slight hint of happy to be there, and it was just perfect Keanu Reeves. Like no matter how serious he's being, there's that kind of like playfulness about it that I really like.
And there was a glitchiness to him. They had lots of clever like erasing him from the environment. So you would see him and he'd be like, okay, let's go. And then your character would like look down at something and look up and he's gone.
Right, or he would walk off
Yeah.
screen, and then you would immediately turn and look, and he'd be gone, you know.
And he
like he
fits-
threw the cigarette into a tub of ice that you had to get
Yes.
into, and like there's no sound, which is
Yeah.
cool to his throwing the cigarette.
And something that I'm so excited about with Cyberpunk is you're seeing Keanu glitch in and out. And this, I guess, applies at the end of the demo, so I'm sure we'll eventually get there. But this game is going to take you places in the sense that you have this world, and then you have digital worlds beyond that you're exploring that seem like
Digital world?
digital world. And so it's like a world within a world within a world.
Yeah.
Just the way they're distorting reality in this game is super cool.
And they, like, just broad strokes, they said several things which confirmed questions or answered questions that I had previously, because I had asked you guys, I was like, man, I hope you can play like hacking only, completely non-violent,
Right.
blades only, only silent takedowns. And like they showed us the tech tree thing, they showed us like how points go in. They even said you can play this entire game without harming or killing anyone.
Yeah.
And that's incredible.
Can I just say something that really blew me away, and that I wish I could have properly conveyed to the CD Projekt Red guys? And obviously, they're coming from an incredible pedigree, but time and again, I see these companies get out there and they're like, "Hey guys, we're making an RPG," and it's like, no, you're making an action game that like you can level up in.
Right.
Cool.
That you can get slightly
Cyberpunk
better, yeah.
2077 is an RPG-ass RPG. Everything, you have so many minute decisions, and they're not just like, hey, you can make a lot of decisions that it has consequence. Pre-order now. They went through painstakingly, and they're like, here's how this piece of clothing will change what you do in the game. Here's how if you build your character this way, and they would flip. They had different builds of the characters, and they would show you here are all of the new things that you have access to based on the decisions that you make. But more than that, the world building. They didn't just introduce a character and they're like, yeah, this is a guy you're going to go on a mission with. They're like, okay, here's the area, here's its history, here's the economic situation it's in.
Yeah.
Everything had a background, everything had detail, it all made sense. It all, like, everything fit together logically in a believable way. Like, they are making an RPG.
Yeah, they talked about the area called Pacifica, I think,
Yeah.
which is like a district of Night City, basically Pacific Palisades.
Yeah, they say there's 6 districts.
Yeah, 6 districts. And this place, they were like, there was a billboard even that was like, welcome to beautiful Pacifica. And it's like, this was supposed to be a cool, like, resort beach town.
Yep.
But it all went to hell whenever, like, whatever war happened and all the corporations just kind of, like, pulled their funding out. And now the Voodoo Boys have moved in, and they're the hacker gang that occupies this space.
Pacifica, one of 6 districts.
Yeah, yeah. It's very cool.
One
And
of
it
the
was
things
huge.
interesting about the Voodoo Boys is a lot of them speak like Haitian Creole.
Creole, yeah.
Which
And-
you can translate.
Yeah, so that's the thing. If you have a specific
He said that,
upgrade,
yeah.
you can translate
And even the
what
subtitles
people
are
are saying to each
cool
other.
because it'll show it in the language, and then,
then
as
switches.
it's typing itself
Yeah,
out,
yeah.
the letters will start to become English.
Also, he rode a motorcycle, and it was awesome.
And even,
First
even the
person.
smallest things, like the contact that you're going to meet to do this mission in Pacifica, they're like, oh, he's a butcher. And they don't just leave it there. They're like, he's a butcher, and in this world, real meat is a luxury. Synthetic meat is the most common, and you like see him making synthetic meat and just
Yeah. I believe they
rich.
said disgusting synthetic meat.
Yeah.
Most people eat disgusting synthetic meat.
As long as we're just kind of talking about generalizations before we go step by step, but
Yeah.
the demo did. I just want to say, like, one of the things that it just absolutely floored me that, like, this isn't a case of, like, comparing it to other Cyberpunk games, comparing it to other first-person RPGs that I've played, comparing it to other action games, just video games, period. I have never, ever, ever seen this many human beings in an environment in a video game in my life. I mean, this is just insane. Like, you would walk by a room, nothing was happening. We're not going in there. There's no objective. There's like 50 people in there. Like, we went into like a nightclub, and you're just shoulder to shoulder. Excuse me, like pushing past people. I love when you finally found that guy. You walk into a room and you ask somebody, and the guy's just like working on a machine. It's like, do you know where this guy is? And the guy just looked and points, and then like goes back to what he's doing. You're like, oh, cool, thanks. And just like and even when you find that guy, he's working on meat, and then it's like, oh, here, let me go help you. Just everything was so fluid, and it really felt everywhere that you went. It's like, this is not just people. It's like, no, this is kind of like Assassin's Creed. I think that was like one of the franchises that really tried to sell that and push that. Like, look how many people are just living in this world. I really felt like I am in an environment. There's one part where he's like, okay, this looks like a nasty part of town. Yeah. And like it did. Like it wasn't just because like, there's graffiti or like, I hear gunshots.
Right.
It's just like, this feels different. Like the way people are animated,
which is a good feat because the whole damn city seems like a rough part of town.
Yeah. No, it's.
Well, I'm waiting to see because there were three. Very interested. There were three kind of backgrounds to your character that you could choose. The first one was
Nomad.
I really want to talk about that.
What?
I really want to talk about that.
Yeah, and then it was Street Kid, and then it was Corporate.
Corporate, baby.
But the shot for Corporate was like this woman in a nice suit with like a really fancy car. I want to see that part of town. Too.
Yeah.
Because all the stuff we've seen is like super hardcore.
The
more
corporate
or less.
backstory is that you have forsaken.
Right.
Yeah. So,
but
it's
like,
not
does
like,
that part of town still exist? Is what I'm wondering.
You can kind of get a sense from the trailer. You can see
actually,
some
last
the big
E3
fancy
That's
cars.
true, the big fancy
and
gala,
There's
yeah.
like business meetings happening and stuff.
Like Ben was talking about just the RPG-ness and the world building, and I love nothing more than like, depending on what you pick, changes how you interact with people in this world. So like if you're a street kid, there are additional dialogue options that only the street kid can say, and that is like some of my favorite stuff in a video game where like that is meaningful, and then depending on what skills you pick, that also changes it. So the possibilities are so many.
And if you're playing as a man or a woman, they said it changes a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
There was a character. You're going on this mission for this guy, and then you run into another character that is like, hey, like they're just setting you up, and you get a bunch of dialogue options. And to speak to Huber's point about having the street kid background, it's such a great scenario because the information that you're being fed, you're in the heat of the moment, and it's both equally believable and not believable.
Right.
Like whichever way you go, it actually makes perfect sense why you would go that way. And like your background as a street kid really adds a lot of context and flavor here because all of these options are valid and logical, but you're like, well, I would trust somebody from the streets, the people that I'm working for, more than a suit like you. And it felt like a really meaningful choice that played into how attached you were to your own history, which I thought was really cool.
I thought was the moment where that's really sung for me because we've all played RPGs where you picked the vagabond background or whatever, and that just unlocks some additional lines of dialogue, and like you pick that line of dialogue, and then the other person just has like one extra line of response text, and then goes on as if it was all the same. This was written, and the way the scenario was set up, it really did influence. Like, I mean, we weren't playing it, but like I could see how it would influence your playstyle because you would think that you would see that option lit up and say, I would react that way. Yes.
And I feel like they construct the dialogue options in a lot of games where it's like, okay, well, here's like the one or two that make sense, and then here's like the super goofy ones where they feel really artificial. But it was every decision that you were making here, it's like, man, I could really see that line of thought. It was just very believable, which I liked.
What'd you say, Huber?
I was just saying, like, I think of just like the original Deus Ex, the opening mission. If you kill people, you go back and your guy is like comments on it and gives you less money. And it's just like those moments where gameplay and story are coming together. Like everything in Cyberpunk is just next level.
Yeah. One of the things too, they're talking about your street cred kind of it opens up new options in the shops as well.
Yeah.
Cool. We saw that level up.
Yeah. And just kind of to what Huber was saying and what you're saying is like every scenario seemed like more than any game I think I've seen in action, you could really palpably feel the options available to you. Like and the demo went out of its way in the later combat part to show the different scenarios and the different play styles. Like they even had like you couldn't do this in the game, but like they had like a dev tool where they could switch character builds from a netrunner. Also, still blows my mind that they're just all straight up just using terms like netrunner and ice and stuff. From
we need
all
to
of it.
have a lengthy conversation about nanowire at some point.
Baby God. Yeah, that's a whole subsection of this. But like, and then, you could be a netrunner or a straight up fighter, but even outside of that combat scenario where they were switching back and forth to show that, like even just talking to people or walking into places, like going in to see the butcher, like you probably could have walked in there and like killed those guys and like done whatever you wanted, like gone about this whole other way. When you're on a mission going into this defunct mall, they're like, the two guys are like, oh yeah, three guys went out of here a second ago. They're probably at the market or whatever getting food. I don't know, up to you if you want to go follow them or whatever. And you could go and investigate them or like take out they're like the heavies. So you could like stealth up on them, kill them in the market, go back to the place, or just go in the front door or go in the back. It's just, I don't know. It actually seems real. It didn't seem like, because sometimes like Deus Ex or whatever, it's like you either go in the vent or you shoot everyone. You know.
Yeah, the other thing that I want to say with this freedom and options, I think what makes it more meaningful, to me at least, is sometimes when you have games with a lot of freedom, it's like, okay, we're going to give you a bunch of options, and yeah, you can tune your character to be better at those things, but you can kind of do everything. It's just like in Cyberpunk, I didn't get that sense. I feel like your choices are more consequential to that, and the way that they presented the demo, it was like, I am only doing this because I made these choices. This would not be available to me. I could not do this. I couldn't do this path if I didn't build my character this specific way. And so I really like those hard limitations where it's like, there's a ton of cool shit you can do, so make sure you pick the right thing.
And like the Netrunner character version, which is like the hacker, found out that there was a guy counter running against you way earlier than the other character would have. And like just really cool little stories, stuff like that. Like you wouldn't have even known that other hacker was there.
And again, going back to things tying into gameplay, the reason is you're hacking into a panel to disable a camera. And then that's when, because what happens is the merc that hires you, he's put a feed into your head. And so he's watching what you're doing, and then he's like, hey, dude, there's somebody else like linking in and trying to like get in and watch what you're doing. Yeah. And so that's how you find out about the agent. Right. Whereas the reason you don't find out about that with the strength build is because you don't worry about that camera. You just rip the doors wide open.
That was my favorite. Honestly, that was my favorite part of the whole thing.
That was crazy.
That was just set up so well, switching between, because there was so much nuance, and you could really like target and see all of the interesting items that you could hack. And then he's like, all right, I'll switch over to her. And then he just like walks through the door.
Like,
and I'm like,
the
so
animation
of
the
I'm
arms,
gonna do, but like, yeah, you could see the individual parts, like
the arm like split open when it was working harder, and like the muscles, it was artificial arms. Yeah. And it was cool that the like runner character, the super squishy like runner character, they were playing as the male character, and then the female character had like these bionic arms that were just ripping doors open.
Guys, this game comes out in like 10 months, and during the demo, I was already thinking about multiple playthroughs.
Oh yeah, blades and hacking. I want to never fire a gun.
The other thing that was interesting about what they had in that combat scenario right after that is the Netrunner hacked the turret, and the turret just acted like an auto turret, whereas the strength build just rips it off of the stand and just start shooting at people like it's a minigun.
Did they hack it first or rip it out first?
No, they just ripped it out and used it like a regular gun.
I mean, like in your demo, which one happened
first?
Oh,
they ripped it out first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because that at first I was like, oh wow, they did it in opposite order for you, but no.
The hacker had people pull out pins of grenades that were on them, or just
shoot
themselves.
You
Like,
can
Yeah.
hack their arm to make them do crazy things.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that's in the shop is like all these, they call them demons, programs that basically you can install into somebody else with the wire. So like you use the wire kind of like a whip in a way, but then you can also like actually plug into somebody.
We need to talk. Now's the time.
Yeah, go for it.
Let's talk
Nanowire.
about that wire.
Yeah, the nanowire. Because it's one of those things that you see in a gameplay demo like this where it's like, oh, cool, it does that thing. And like that, man, that really opens up the possibilities where it's like you have ranged hacking where you're going to be able to sling this wire into somebody and they're not going to be able to see it and you're going to be able to completely hack into them from range, just disable them completely. But then he's like, oh, yeah, you can also just use it as like heated whips, and then he goes into this hallway and he just starts slicing people up, and the audience that we had was like pretty quiet the whole time. This is a 50-minute demo, and when you get to the nanowire section where he's just slicing everybody up and you could hear the audience be like, oh man, he really cut that guy up.
He just walked down a hallway and then just went like and like dude's like, I think she cut 2 people's heads off and an arm came off. And even the guy running the demo was like, oh.
They were surprised at their own gore, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like this superheated nanofilament wire that not only hacks things, but you whip out and it could just slice through like. It was kind of weird because it was like it would slice body parts off of people that otherwise took a few bullets to kill. So
it seemed a little OP. I'm kind of curious.
Kind of
what
overpowered, yeah.
Probably mostly a close quarters thing. You're not gonna walk into a giant
yeah.
room where like dudes on second floor shooting at you and you're just like slashing at people.
And also, how much do you have to invest to get there? Because they're
Right.
like, hey, this is like halfway through the game. We already have some advanced skills.
Right, yeah.
So.
And on the skill tree, it had, there's cool and tech and, the other ones.
Body, intelligence, reflexes, technical, and cool.
Thank you. And like it was interesting because in the tech tree, it's sort of like a branching kind of spidery shape circle. And under cool, it had things like assassinations and sniper rifles. It had 3. And then tech, in the menu, it just said tech and then engineering. And it had like 1 thing. And it's interesting. And then blades was under something else and hacking was its own thing and stuff. But yeah, it's interesting that not all of them were equally weighted. You know what I mean? Like you could put tech points in and it's going to get you that 1 skill.
Yeah.
I'm like, that skill must be awesome.
Yeah.
One thing I liked about the tree too, that it was fun. I actually saw 2 different skill trees today, and both developers were like, They're like, this is not final. They're like, what is this
Right.
for E3? We're still figuring this out. But I liked that it was like a fan, so it wasn't like you got to do all of this weird nonsense and then you finally get to this point. It was just like a center point and then everything fanned out. So it's like you just pick a direction and go. So if you like you were saying with blades, it's just blades. Keep going, blades.
And it's important to say, like we've been mentioning that they were switching between playstyles, and they stressed this too. The playstyles they were switching between were just for the dev build of this demo. There aren't character classes in this game. There aren't anything like that. You just put points in what you think would be cool and go for it. And I imagine if you, there are definitely play styles. They said specifically there aren't like classes.
Yeah, they said we don't have classes. We're going for a fluid class system.
Right.
Yeah.
I imagine
I think
if you
there's
put,
something where like it still will name your class based on what you put points into, but I think it's like
that will change and evolve as you put
fluid.
points.
Yeah. And I imagine if you put like the first level of points into everything, maybe that'll work. I don't know, but like you might not excel in any area. Jack of all trades, who knows?
Because I definitely noticed that when they were in between them, like they had the names of like the strong whatever and the Netrunner.
Strong solo and Netrunner.
Strong solo, yeah. The other thing the Netrunner could do was hack the boss.
Yeah.
Like scan it and create a weak point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the boss fight was cool in so many different ways. Just the actual mechanics of the boss itself, where it had this juice. This boss was this like giant person and picked up a giant hammer. But the only reason they could wield the giant hammer is because they had this juice going into them.
Yeah.
And you could see the juice on the back of them, and so you could play strategically where you're like, okay, I'm going to deal with that source of their power, and then if you destroyed it, they could no longer wield the hammer. It was just an option that was completely taken away from them.
Like Bane from that one Batman and Robin.
And you had like these glass sheets, these glass panels that
Yeah.
were all throughout the arena.
Like TV,
and as
yeah.
you were fighting this giant boss that was wielding this ridiculous hammer, you'd be like shooting and you'd like hit these glass panels and they would just shatter. And it was just such a
And
cool.
pop up
Ben,
out of the
dude,
ground.
yeah,
and lower.
Yeah.
it was just such a cool.
And then
scene.
and then at the same time, at some point in the fight, somebody started hacking you,
Yes,
right.
and your
the
HUD is
boss
kind of
did,
getting
yeah.
all screwy.
And I got a sense that like it affected your movement. So
Mm.
if you were like, it didn't seem like too annoying, but it seemed like there was some erratic
Speaking of
movement. going on.
movement, earlier,
Really
what?
quick, I thought of Ben when all the glass was shattering everywhere. It reminded me of Crisis Zone.
Nice.
Speaking
Crisis Zone E3 shout out.
Shout out.
of shout out. Speaking of movement, there were some enemies using a cool ability that I assume you'll be able to use too.
The zigzag.
The zigzag run dash thing. There were these enemies that were strong-looking enemies, and they would go like like really fast. And I couldn't understand
they
what he was
too
saying.
Crumbled to the nanowire.
Oh yeah. The nanowire would just slice right through those chumps. But the guy, it started with an S, but I couldn't understand what he was saying. It had a name, but it was like a certain augment that just gives you super speed in little bursts. And the enemies were using it, and our characters didn't seem to have it. But like, I imagine that's a thing you can install. Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah.
I suppose we should go more linearly. Through
I don't think we need to go super linear through everything.
Give us a
like
play-by-play.
people-
Just a
a
quick
lot of
play-
chat kind of wants a
Yeah,
wants a
like just to
play-by-play.
explain what's happening. So you start out, and you're trying to find
Yeah, you're
Brigitte.
Yeah, you're trying to find Brigitte, who is the head of the Voodoo Boys, and then you find this. Somehow you run into this guy in the chapel, which is the crowded place that
Yeah.
Jones was talking to.
Oh yeah, that was so. Like you're watching this guy make a speech, and you're just push, and it was neat too because it wasn't just like I'm maneuvering around these. Like you could physically see like each person you would bump into, and then this guy grabs you out of the crowd and says, "Wait, no, not here. You need to go someplace else."
Yeah, and the guy and then he tells you about the guy.
And if you have Street Kid, you can be like, "How did you recognize me?"
Yeah.
But that character didn't have Street Kid, so we couldn't.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like you're in a totally different part of town and all that.
Yeah.
And so
God, I imagine parts where, like, if you do certain things and you're a specific backstory, additional dialogue options open up. Like, if you have like recon from hacking something and your corporate, like, that'll open up things. Oh my God.
Dialogue is
real,
gonna kind of constantly be tormenting in that game.
Oh,
where
yeah.
I'm gonna have so many moments where I'm like, "Oh man, that option seems really cool. Wish I picked that background." Or, "Oh man, I wish I had that stat raised high enough to get that option."
And like different parts of town, I'm sure different backgrounds are going to be way more effective because
sure.
like they said, like this is a part of town where like not a lot of people go. Everyone here is super disenfranchised, and like that's kind of what the Street Kid background was talking about too. Like you grew up in a place like Pacifica, and so like a lot of the dialogue options in this demo had Street Kid, but then when you talk to the like weird corporate police suit guy, corporate was an option. And so like and I wonder how much of the game you can like hang in those areas or like it's going to be wild.
So you go to the butcher shop, which we talked a little bit about, and you meet Placide, who is the contact that you need to meet. What I think is really cool about this sequence, though, is I feel like most RPGs like this, you would walk up to him and you would have this entire conversation just while he's doing whatever idle animation he's doing at the butcher shop.
Just staring at you, like dumping
And it's
exposition
like,
on you.
no, like this is very natural. Like he stops what he's doing. You start walking and talking.
Puts his tools down.
You go through this whole area until you like get up into his back office and you sit down. And then like, okay, now we're going to start discussing this deal. Now I'm going to start telling you what I want you to do.
Even before the back office, maybe this is what you were going to say.
Yeah.
Even before the back office, he goes to this like black marketplace and basically just like says like, hang on a sec, and like has a conversation with some other NPC for a couple of seconds. Like, cause it's something he had to do. And you just sit there. In the demo, the player went to a shop stall next door, bought the samurai jacket and another brain mod, and then by the time they were done with that, Placide was like done with his business.
Right when he leaves the butcher shop, you go out into a public square, and one guy just shoots an assault rifle into the air.
Oh, yeah, I
One guy's got
forgot.
an Uzi, and he's just like, ah, like shooting in the air. no one cares.
No one cares.
No one
Brandon,
cares.
I thought-
Everyone in the environment's like, yeah, what are you gonna do? You know,
I
This
thought,
happens
like,
all the
another
time.
day, more bullets in the
He
air.
yelled something like some kind of like slogan or something.
I thought for I was like, did an NPC have a glitch and they're just like erratically firing their gun and they're not supposed to be? And I was like, no, this is just this world.
This is this district,
Yeah.
man.
There's also, I thought it was cool. There's the guy like out on a couch, like noodling at a guitar.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it said like
Just
resident.
strumming along.
Yeah.
But I wonder too, like I think of the I think it's a motel in the trailer where there's just a guy on the ground and people are just like beating the crap out of him, and like I wonder if you'll encounter these things of just like
If
I
you
can't-
yeah.
sorry man, like, or I want to get involved. I actually want to stop. Sorry.
Well, and there was a moment in this when you're walking to his office, and like I think they like looked intentionally, but like you could have easily not looked at this and missed it. But like there's just an attack helicopter just like shooting the hell out of the side of a high rise in the distance.
Way in the distance.
And like it's just like another day in this city.
Yeah.
And like I was thinking, like for a second I was like, oh, that's kind of dumb. It's just shooting forever and ever and ever, and it's never gonna stop. Like you'd be done by now. And like right when I thought that, the floor like exploded, and then the helicopter flew away. And I was like, oh, all right. Like okay.
Did we also say no loads?
No loads.
no, at all,
Unless
yeah.
you fast
Zero.
travel, doesn't load.
Zero loads.
I really want to focus on the conversation with Placide in his office because it was my favorite moment in the entire
Yeah.
50-minute demo. Because Blood, you brought up such a great point where, regardless of the personality of the character, you do get into sequences like that where it's like, okay, I'm going to explain everything to you, and then you're going to do the mission. Placide is not a man of words. Right. He does not trust you. Why would he? And he just keeps things very, like, he just answers in very short sentences. Doesn't trust you, you don't trust him, and you get to this moment where you think like, okay, we're gonna sit. He's like, sit down. We're gonna have this nice long conversation about this job that you want me to do. Not how it goes. He grabs your arm, and you're like, wait, whoa, don't do that, man, because everybody has their own personal jack that, like, if you get access to it, you can completely control the person. And so you have to make this decision, and you get the option. It's not just some sequence that you're watching. You get the option of, well, do I let Placide do this or not? And at that point, once again, like, you could see it going both ways, where you're like, this isn't a good idea. I don't want to get into this. It seems shady. Or like, no, I really want to do this
And
job.
Ben, it was so fast. The guy
Yeah.
grabs your arm. He's going to stick you with a needle.
Yep.
You have like 1.5 seconds to choose. I can imagine just watch, like, playing the game and that happening and just like not being able to react quick enough.
You
'cause these
actually have a
high
long
stakes-
time to choose? Because, like, in our
Yeah,
demo,
I thought they like kind of.
Oh,
they,
I think
they
I
got
think
it.
the
first one
player,
went by
the
quick.
character itself automatically goes like, whoa, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a dialogue comes up
Got it.
where it
But-
lets you
Got it.
choose. Yeah.
But what's cool is even though you have a long time to make the decision and reflect on it, Placide is like, come on, man, we got to do
Yeah.
it. Like, he's egging you on
I like
as
that
you're waiting, as
when
he's
the,
waiting for you.
the announcer would stop and he'd be like, oh, I'm going to try to explain something. And then the character would be like, are we going to do this or what? And the guy's like, hold on. Like,
Well, at one point after the second time, Placide was like, "What?" You know, the announcer person was like, "Yeah, if we wait any longer, he's gonna get mad." Or like, it seemed like, I don't know, maybe if you idle for too long, the characters would get irritated with you or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or if you press things too much, they'll get mad and like you'll just lose the opportunity.
Yeah, and so once you decide to let him jack in, then it's this like really like invasive feeling thing where he's like looking through all the stuff that you've had and planning in your body, and he's like, okay, what's this thing?
Right.
What's that? And I think you pretty much have the option to lie or to tell him what you want to tell him
Yeah.
about
Like
about this stuff.
what's it to you? Yeah.
Yeah.
And they end up saying, he ends up saying, oh, I don't know, it's unmarked, and
Yeah.
I got shot in the head, so it doesn't work anyway.
Which we know is a lie.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it's total lie
That's
because
the
that's
chip
the
with
big deal
Johnny
chip.
Silverhand
Yeah.
in it. Yeah, that's like the chip.
I think he freaks out because it doesn't have a name on it.
Right.
He's
He
like,
says
this isn't
he's
labeled
like, this
as
is
this.
unmarked. What is this? Yeah.
The other thing I thought was pretty cool during that is somebody, again, then this goes into the translator because, he's talking to you in English, but other people are talking to him in Creole.
Yeah.
And so, like, one of his guys just, like, comes out of the back door and, like, starts talking to him about that, about some other thing going on. and they say like you have the option. You can press and like ask him what that's about, or you can decide like or not to, because some characters are gonna be like, that's none of your business.
Yeah.
It's
something I liked about that is the beginning of the dialogue options. It said bracket Placide bracket and then bracket room bracket, and then the room one was like, what was he talking about? And the announcer in our case didn't choose that and said if we press, he'll get mad at us. But I like that distinction of like, keep talking to this character or address the thing that's happening in the room. I like that they're differentiating clearly those options, you know, so you don't accidentally pick like, what's that guy doing, and get yourself shot or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so basically we're basically doing this whole job just so he'll introduce us to Brigitte.
Again, the leader of the Voodoo Boys.
Yeah. And then that's when we get on the motorcycle.
Yeah, baby.
And we
Change
have
the radio
stations.
Radio station.
I think you picked like the fourth one.
Yeah, she did, yeah.
And
Which is just like another great opportunity for them to talk about this region, and you see some of those
great.
scenes.
Just seemed really natural to control and look around.
Yeah.
Like there were a lot of like she would ride and kind of look around the environment at the same time.
I liked how they made it a point to emphasize, like, hey, you can own your vehicles. These are yours.
Oh,
which
yeah,
is
I
nice.
missed that.
And that kind of I'm a little bit curious about that, because in the last demo we saw, we drove the car around and it was just there, like it was just kind of happened to be like on the path that we were taking, and then he pops out of this office where like we didn't know where this was. We had to follow this character to find the office and get this information, and then poof, our bike's there.
Jones,
So,
how hyped will you be if you have safe houses?
oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
like,
yeah,
Well,
well,
I want to
that's
know what
last
your own
lesson.
apartment looks like.
I think
We've seen it
we
in
saw
that,
that.
in
Yeah,
the other
that
demos.
was
yeah.
where the other
First
demo
demo.
opened.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was one of the only things I think in this demo that was just like placed in front of you. Like maybe that's not there, or you have to like call someone to bring it to you,
Or that's how you got there. Maybe you
Maybe.
drove up on that motorcycle and parked it. I don't know.
But
Yeah.
that was like one of the only red flags. I was like, how'd that bike get there? But and it was just neat because it's like if I'm playing GTA 5, like I'm running over people, I'm driving around, who
Right.
cares? And like it didn't seem weird that she seemed to be like obeying traffic laws, or
Avoiding
like
pe-
would
she
stop at
stopped
a
at a-
stop
yeah.
sign and watch a car go by and then drive like.
And
I
the guy in
loved
the other
that
car
bike.
was like,
It's-
gave him the eye. The car that drove by like looked at
Oh, really?
their character.
Oh,
I
interesting.
think so. Maybe I think I'm not imagining that.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
But yeah, we take the bike to this mall.
Yeah, so you get to the mall, and that's when we talk to the scouts, the goons. Oh, and I think we should kind of clarify like the whole mission scenario is that there's this other gang called the Animals,
yeah.
who aren't from this part of town, who have kind of like taken up this abandoned mall and are just like, it's basically a turf war. Like part
But
of you
both-
is like wanting to figure out like what the heck they're doing there, but it's like, yeah, they don't belong there. Like take them
Both
out.
V and Placide, both in their own ways, pointed out like, I think V might have asked, but it's like, is that typical of the Animals? And he was like, no.
Well, no, that was another moment that I really liked, where even though you've created this character, you're not just this like mindless vessel. You're
Right.
using your own history, and you're like, wait a minute, like you're giving me this mission to take care of these animals, but it really doesn't make any sense for the animals to be here, and here's why.
Right.
Like I love that. I love that you're actually a person that is building on their own knowledge, and you're not just like some quest receptacle.
Your
That's really cool.
character really feels like a part of this world.
Yes.
And like your character pushes back.
Yeah.
Your character is like, no, why won't you tell me what I'm what I'm really doing here? The
Right.
animals wouldn't just take over a mall
There,
for
there
no
has
reason.
to be somebody who
Yeah.
sent them here. How
Right.
is that connected?
Right.
Yeah.
Combat-wise too, I also liked just during the whole progress of going through this mall, getting to the end of the demo, walked by a lot of people. There's she made the decision to just stealth past people, and it wasn't like classic patterns of like, oh, this person walks to here, waits a little bit, and then walks, and then now it's my turn to go. Just kind of like being very observant of like, okay, I can. Since there's people on the second floor, that guy's going up a staircase, and
in the combat scenario.
Yeah.
because it just seemed like once we were like really deep in the mall, it was like, man, there's people all over the place.
Yeah.
Like this is kind of tricky.
And not the only game to do this, but something they did bring up, which I always think is cool, is you may not want to go and stealth kill or hack everything right away, because if you be patient, you can eavesdrop on people
Yeah.
and get more information.
Yeah,
about-
which is interesting. They had like basically an ability to like zoom in and eavesdrop on characters from a distance.
And the characters were doing stuff. Like one guy had like a bunch of pizzas.
Yeah.
Like the animals were hungry because it was like 7 p.m. and like they needed to eat
time
dinner.
of day changed.
Oh yeah, it's a day-night cycle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Active day-night cycle.
Here's a Hubert moment: stashing a body in a garbage chute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was here for it. It was excellent.
Yeah, the announcer that we had was like, "You'll be pleased to know that garbage chutes, just like today, are still good for hiding garbage and bodies."
It was great too because right at that moment they're like, you can be lethal or non-lethal, but we're gonna kill this guy.
Yeah.
I think he brought that up at one point when the person playing just put a bullet in somebody's head that was knocked
When they
out.
defeated the
He was
boss,
like, oh, well, okay.
it was like, and you can always choose to spare someone, and then she shot her in the side, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Our guy was like, because he just kept shooting, like even after he killed the person and didn't use the non-lethal route, he just like kept breaking the glass panels, and he was like, "You need to go to therapy." Like,
oh, nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, they were like
And-
ribbing each other. It was funny.
And we overheard the two people that we met out front. We overheard them notice those people after the animals notice the
Oh, yeah.
the
Yeah.
two characters. They were like, "Hey, there's two guys out front. Let's go get them." And that those are two people we didn't have to deal with.
What was really interesting in this section too is they hack a number of different objects. So if you remember from the first trailer, how there was like kind of like this boxing training robot.
Yeah.
So there's this part where they hack the robot so it like punches back really hard and just like just floors the guy, probably breaks his skull or something.
Yeah.
And like everyone just rushes to him to see like, is he breathing? Like what's going on?
And then, but then once it was an amazing moment in video game because like it felt really real. Like the robot punches this guy, blood comes out, he falls down. Everyone's like, "Whoa, shit!" And they run up to him, and like, yeah, there's that moment of like, oh man, is he dead? Is he breathing? And then like the guy like, I don't know, he moaned or something, and they know he's okay. And then somebody else jokes like, "Man, he really got you, huh?" Or like whatever. It's like he really railed you.
This is my favorite note.
They just
that
started
I took.
joking about it.
This is my favorite note that I took. It was just hackbot, comma smash head.
Yeah.
Right. And then that was
In the
followed up.
darkness.
Yeah, hackbot.
That was followed up by there was a guy that was like lifting weights.
Oh yeah.
Oh no! That
and
poor
they
guy.
hacked the thing because even that has like some kind of computer.
Yeah, pretty much everything is connected. Yeah.
And so like you just put extra weight on it, and it's like, and they're like, that's what happens when you don't have a spotter.
Well, and then
Oh, I think he said there too. He was like, "I think he'll be okay." Oh
and then
no, no.
yeah,
he's
he was
dead.
like trying to lift it. He's like, he's strong, he'll be okay. And then it was like, and like snapped his neck, and he's like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah. And then
Oh, brutal. So you can even kill people with hacking.
yeah, and then there's the soda machine.
Wait, did an NPC say that, Ian, or the demo person?
the guy demoing.
The announcer said he's
announcer,
strong,
yeah.
he'll be all right.
Because that actually was the only moment of the whole demo where I was like, felt the video game-ness because that thing like crushed him and he was like, "Ugh," like screaming, and then there was a dude like 10, 15 feet away that just didn't acknowledge, and maybe it's just
Oh,
these-
not in our demo.
Oh, I
there
didn't
was no
spot
one.
that.
There was no one near that
I
guy.
didn't see
yeah,
anybody.
there was a guy like just right up the escalator, like
Oh.
right there in view, and he just didn't
Touche.
respond. And I was like, maybe it's just these type of people, the animals or whatever. Or
Yeah.
just demo stuff.
Well, and when you're working out and stuff, maybe yell and grunt and stuff too. I don't know.
Yeah. But then the last one that they did in that sequence, there was a soda machine, and so they started just having sodas like popping out of that, so that the guys looked at
ours
the
was different.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah?
don't think we had that.
It happened. It was a advertisement or a soda machine, and they just made it make a bunch of noise. Nothing came out, but they just made it like do its little jingle.
Oh, okay. There's
then they were
definitely
both-
a pile of soda cans.
Both people like looked at it, but then the player went up with the filament wire or whatever, the nanowire,
Nanowire, yeah.
nanowire, and then got spotted. The one guy turned around, and then this was the moment where the woman playing the demo just went whoosh, and it just like sliced the first guy like this and the second guy's head off at the same time. And I think that they don't usually kill them both in one go like that because the announcer was like, oh. It was interesting. But yeah.
And then that's when they kind of first started talking about the class system. So, they went from hacking the camera to the strong solo.
Strong arms, yeah.
Yeah, where they rip up.
Which again, not a
open the
class
doors.
system really, but more like just a free assignment of points into how you
And
want
then,
to play.
Huber, you wanted to talk about this melee stuff.
Yes. The melee was good, but I thought the shooting was better.
Okay.
I thought the shooting had more impact, looked cooler. The melee, like some of the hits felt really powerful, but then kind of the like some of the animations, like the neck snap animation, like they would hit him and then they would do the neck snap and it would kind of just like warp into the neck snap animation. Again, just stuff that like it comes out next year. All this stuff is just ripe for polish. But
I don't think they snapped the neck in ours.
yeah, and again, and that's the thing is
I don't
there's
remember
just
that.
I don't
so
remember a
much
snap
going on.
neck.
Yeah, he like took a bottle. He took a broken
Oh,
bottle.
yeah, they did
and,
that.
like,
Yeah.
stabbed him in the side, and then the guy like staggered, and then he went up behind and just like snapped his neck.
Oh, they killed that person just by stabbing her with a bottle a bunch of times in ours.
Yeah. Well, there's also a knife too. Did they throw
They
it?
threw it.
Yeah. I
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved the knife throw. Loved the hammer. But I was pleased with the melee, but I was extremely impressed with the shooting. So that's where my head.
It's tough to tell sometimes with melee unless you're the one controlling it too.
yeah.
Totally.
They dipped into the skill tree a bit, which we talked about a little bit. I didn't get to write down everything, but the ones I wrote down, some of them are interesting. Two-handed, shotguns, blades, hacking, rifles, handguns, assassination, and I think there is like one on there called cold-blooded or something.
Yeah, that was there.
Did we mention that after you killed the boss, you can pick up and use the hammer?
Yep.
If
If
you
you
have-
have strength enough.
Yep.
The strong arms.
Yep.
Yeah, they in the strong solo version with the mechanical strength arms, she could pick up the hammer and use it.
Did they use the hammer during the fight for you guys?
Yeah.
No.
yeah,
It was
ours
only
we did.
after we got a swing.
Cool.
Yeah, in ours they broke the juice thing, and then the boss dropped the hammer, and then our player picked up the hammer and kind of like whacked her with it. She wasn't as strong, like super strong enough to use it effectively, but like hit the boss a couple of times with it.
We had somebody so what they did with the skill points is they invested in handgun
Yeah.
proficiency so that she could use a gun there a little better. They used somebody as a human shield for a second.
Yeah,
That was
which is
brutal.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Against a turret,
Well-
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Or no, yeah.
What was so brutal about that, using the guy as a human shield, is it was actually, he carried him a pretty good ways, and you could see the guy like squirming around, and then just his body going limp as you're getting closer to the
He
turret.
took enough bullets and died.
very
yeah,
brutal.
It was intense.
Yeah, and that's where you rip out the turret.
Yeah.
And that's when you hack the guy to jam his targeting. They also talked about being able to have a guy like pull the pin on his own grenade.
They did that for us, yeah. And they had someone shoot themselves in the head by hacking their arm.
Yeah, and we didn't get to see that because she was like, "Oh, we really wanted to have someone shoot themselves in the head, but our demoer is like bloodthirsty right now. He was just killing people with
Oh,
Yeah.
the wire, man. He was just flinging that wire around."
it's interesting that it was different, yeah.
And then there was the boss fight with the Sasquatch that we talked about with the glass and the guy hacking into you.
Sasquatch is the person's name, not they weren't
Right.
actually a Sasquatch.
But
Big lady.
But yeah, the animals are
strong
like,
lady,
we kind of talked about this a little bit, but basically like they're just like pumping up their muscles with this
Yeah.
crazy juice.
They're like roid raging gang.
And they did talk about like when you beat the boss, you can leave them or kill them.
Yeah.
And then we have the kind of dialogue with the Netwatch agent, that kind of like turn.
Well, they showed the Netrunner hacked into the van that you're trying to find this like tech van, and then that lets you know like, oh, there's a Netwatch, which is basically like internet police, I guess.
Yeah.
In the building, and then the Netwatch guy starts hacking the building, and you have to like use routes to get up to him. Yeah, and then you confront him in this movie theater. Very cool, up in the projection.
Oh yeah,
Showing
the
a
movie-
western.
Showing a
the
western,
movie-
yeah.
that was great.
Internet police
Just like a
is so
movie
funny.
with like in-game,
Yeah.
character animation and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
is playing out scenes.
Horses.
It's just like
Yeah, and so when you get in there, he disables your connection to Placide so that
Yeah.
you're just talking one-on-one, so you can have this dialogue with you, and tries to tell him like, what did he say that like the word that they use for you is like means like dirty rag or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
not. I remember it reminded me of Runyon, but it's not Runyon
Something like that,
Canyon. It's
though,
like
yeah.
Roignon
or-
or something.
Yeah, but you're being used.
A Creole word for like a used rag that you throw away. And yeah, so the net runner or the net watcher guy is like, yo, what do you think they're gonna do with you after like you were sent here by them? Why do you think they didn't tell you what the end of this mission was? It's like you're sent here and they're just gonna dispose of you like they dispose of everyone after they are done, you know? And then because our character had Street Kid, we were predisposed to say, no, I'm gonna stick with my guts here. I'm gonna stay with these guys.
Screw the man.
Screw the man. And so then you like hack into this dude and access the map. So the net watchers have been using agents around the town to try to find the location with this like basically like super intense Google mapping van to find the location of the Voodoo Boys hideout. But then as soon as you hack into that guy, you see all the operatives of the net watchers in the area getting like X'd out on the map, and then that guy gets X'd out, and then you get X'd out and your screen goes black, and then you wake up 8 hours later and Johnny Silverhand, I presume, somehow protected your mind from being scrambled because they were supposed to like melt your brain by overloading, hacking you and wiping you, melting you, and Johnny Silverhand is just like, told you or whatever, like should have seen that coming, you know, and it's Keanu Reeves. And so yeah, like you were wrong. Your character should have been mind melted. But the best part of that is then Johnny Silverhand. Well, our guy picked "Give me a second," and then like of the options like stand up or give me a second. It's just like your character just sat there for a second. Then Johnny Silverhand's just like, you look like this guy a second ago, like the dead net watches guy. And then the option came back up and you stood up. And then you go back outside, and the two people from Placide's gang, from the Voodoo Boys that were watching the mall, like, who clearly both knew you were going to get melted, see you walk out, and they're both just like, oh, shit.
They can't believe that you're alive, and they're like, do you want to go see Brigitte? We'll take you there.
It's like, don't kill us. Because, like, yeah, and the announcer was like, yeah, no one is supposed to be able to survive having their brain melted. Yeah, and then they take you back to see Placide, and you just punch Placide in the face, and then he's gonna kill you. And then Brigitte is like, she comes in and she's like, "Get out of here!"
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those alpha moments where it's like this guy that's seen like the tough top dog. He's like, she walks in, and is like, "All right, I'm gonna go back to my room now."
It reminded me of The Dark Knight Rises. With the way those two characters are interacting is very much the villain dynamic in Dark Knight Rises.
You're a good man, Ben.
And then, so then she says, you know, if I had known you had the chip in you, like, I wouldn't have put you in any danger, you know, like, whatever. And so then, this is where stuff gets, like, lore heavy, weird, crazy.
Talking about this guy named Alt Cunningham,
which I believe is a woman. The announcer referred to her as a she.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Alt Cunningham, apparently the first person to ever upload their entire consciousness to become an AI and live entirely on the net, is like this legendary hacker presence that apparently has gone beyond the black wall, which is something in the net, which is this, you know, the cyberspace.
The deep web.
The deep web. And so you get... And Brigitte is going to take you to talk to Alt Cunningham. That was the whole point of you you wanted to meet Brigitte to talk to Alt Cunningham. Why? Not totally sure. I guess it has something to do with Johnny Silverhand and immortality. But, so yeah, they make you get into a ice bath, and your character is just like,
And a great little comedic moment is your character is freezing and having that reaction, and then you just get some sort of person that's like manning the station. They just come by and dump just a little bit more ice.
A little more ice on you.
Yeah. Freezing
You're just like, and then they're all like, all right, you ready? And they all get in their like pretty much Matrix chairs and jack into the net. And then Sandra Bullock walks in. No, I'm just kidding. And then, yeah, everything goes all crazy digital and weird looking. And then Brigitte is there, and your character's like, what is this? And she's like, this is the net. This is our little BBS, which I'm not sure what that means.
What?
Probably
It's
something,
bulletin board system.
something, what?
That's old school.
Yeah, it's like a server or
Yeah,
something.
no, it's just a forum.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. And And so then they're like, this is our gateway into the deep web. And so then it moves forward into the deep web to this giant red like wall. And she says, no one's ever come back from beyond the black wall until today. Alt Cunningham, she's going to be the first one to do it. Because apparently you're going to like try to remove a sliver of Johnny Silverhand, and that's going to like get her attention if there's anything human left in her, and she'll come out. Something to that effect.
I don't know.
Who knows what the hell that means? But then at the very end, you look up and like some kind of thing's like a kind
pushing against the wall, breaking through.
Convex thing comes out of the wall, and then it ended and went to the title. Pretty crazy, weird stuff. But yeah. It was pretty different from the last year's E3 demo.
I felt like it was a lot more grounded in a way.
This
Like
one,
it wasn't trying to like
was.
shock you a lot.
It felt way more early game. It felt more like, here are the systems. Here's what it feels like to play this game in real time.
Yeah, the way that they set it up is they're like, we wanted to give you a very broad sense last year of what the world was like, and here we wanted to sell how this RPG works. And I think they did that spectacularly.
Capital R, capital P, capital G. But yeah, it was, and it was weird because my initial reaction, I was like, because when they ended it there, I was like, okay, this is very solid. And now, like talking it over and thinking things through, and now that I've had time to let it sink in, I'm just like, this game is phenomenal.
Yeah, and I think part of what exemplifies that for me is this every scene, every step that we're describing in this demo. It's like, okay, well, we have the moment where we describe what's happening, but then one of us will jump in and be like, oh, did you notice this detail? Did you notice this detail? And it's like, yeah, anything that you're doing, there's this whole world functioning behind you that you can see live out in real time.
To like a terrifying degree.
Yeah.
I'm horrified of this game because like we're all just going to have to disappear for like a month to play this game. And then 7 years from now, it'll come out on Switch, and it'll be hilarious.
I really liked the pistol. Had a really good impact.
Yeah.
Loved it. And again, there were like skills based on that. The skill tree was really cool. The inventory stuff. The inventory seemed really clean. There was just like your character there, and when you click a new piece of clothing, it puts it on them, and you see them like how they look and stuff. They like really stressed fashion in this game, so you can. There's a lot to customize
because they even said, people. I think you mentioned this too. People will react to you differently depending on how you're dressed.
Yeah.
So like if you're dressed like a corporate, they're gonna treat you like a stiff. If you're in this part of town, it's so cool.
So we've got a little over an hour to go. I think the next thing we should probably make sure we hit tonight is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Cool.
Yeah.
Brad saw that?
I played it.
Yeah, but Brad did see the
Chad,
other
I'll give you a
demo the
look
other
at this
day, so
jacket.
we
Brad
should.
took off.
Let's get Kyle in here too.
Brad took off.
Brad took off.
Yeah, I don't think Brad saw or played.
We saw the
We saw the thing the other day.
we saw the other demo with me, and we talked about that on
Yeah, Brad took off.
Sunday or Monday morning.
This says
Brad's not
City
here.
Heat.
Okay.
This is like a guy going. What's he doing? Yeah, rock and roll, little robot. This is a zippy pocket. Weird zippy pocket. This bottom part doesn't come up. This is strange. And then the inside it says Cyberpunk.
Oh, can you just turn that out?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Is it
Yeah, because I
reversal?
saw a guy wearing that.
That hurts. Yeah, it's reversible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
there you
saw
go.
a dude with the yellow walking around.
No pockets if you're wearing it this way though. But I think it's probably mostly liner, but you can definitely do it. Cool.
Interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, Huber, did you want to get in on Star Wars? I guess we should reset. I don't know what's happening. I don't know where the other people are.
Hi, Blood.
Hi,
You're gonna talk
Jones.
Star Wars next. I'll update.
Yeah, we're talking Star Wars next, and then probably the Outer Worlds. But I just want to make sure we got some dudes in here.
Need
No
more
big
dudes.
Just a drink, no big drum.
Yep. Played Biomutant today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got that in there too a little bit.
Pinched myself.
Careful, man.
I probably don't need the headphones so much.
And what else did I check out today? Oh, and Avengers, yeah. Defender Cyberpunk. I'll be wrapped up. My Tuesday will be finished after this.
Yeah, I got 9 a.m. tomorrow, so.
Oh yeah, we got 9 a.m.s.
You guys do?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
You take your special?
Are you with me 9 a.m.?
I couldn't tell you. Honestly.
Yes,
Okay.
you are.
Yeah? What am I doing?
You guys are both doing Dying Light 2, right?
Dying Light 2 hands off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hands off, Dying Light. Hands off.
Really curious. Last year they had like zombie actors.
Nice.
There was like a hallway you walked in to get to the theater, and like you were like wandering around. It's like, okay, fun.
So yeah, Jones.
Did you see Darth Maul?
What happened?
No,
today?
I played this. I played the demo that they played, but before I did that, and this was great. This
Wait,
actually.
I'm sorry. I literally spaced for 1 second. Did you
back?
see or you played?
I played.
You played.
Okay.
Yeah,
Played Jedi
played.
Fallen Order.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm here.
Um,
I'm here.
And the way they had, I loved the way that they had this appointment set up because I first walk in and there's 2, maybe 3, but it looks like there's like 2 separate theaters where you're going in to actually play the demo. And then there's a couch. There's Stig, and there's the crew, there's Respawn, everybody that are like, you know, like, do you want a snack? And like, there's just people chilling on the couch playing a demo of the game. Not this demo. It was like Disney Infinity style. It was like a block with walls around it, and then just waves. And so you would like pick up the controller, and there would just be 1 stormtrooper, and then 2 stormtroopers, and then the guy with the purple rod, and then that guy with 2 stormtroopers, and then that guy with 2 stormtroopers, and now 2 guys up on the wall, and then like so I like when it was done and I played the demo, it was neat to like get good at the game, and then they're like, oh, it's time for your demo, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna crush this thing. Let's do it. And he played through the first part with the AT-ATs, climbed up a completely different way, which I thought was cool. And talked a lot about more specific points throughout the demo that hopefully I'll try to remember and illustrate. But I thought that was interesting because he was very forthcoming about how this demo was set up for E3. One point that I thought was very interesting was there was one point where he gets up to something he needs to rotate to wall run on, and then he can't do it because BD1 doesn't have the tech to hack it to move it. And so he doubles back, and then there's a door right there, and he goes to the door, and he pointed out, he's like, in the actual level, it's someplace else. It's a little more elaborate than this, but we put it in this door just to make the demo easier, to make it quicker for us to run through.
There it is.
E3.
There's that E3 budget, you know, making this version of the game.
And pointed out a lot of like doors and stuff. Like I would walk by a door and he'd be like, this opens up when you actually do the level, and or this becomes an elevator, and so you can actually take this up and down when you're actually going back through. But specifically, and I don't have my phone on me, I'll try to remember it as much as I can, because they had a laminated sheet that had all the controls. Cool. And I was like, I'll take a picture of this. But there was more abilities that Cal has than I was able to get good at in this amount of time. But I think out of everything that he does that I really dug, that I want to talk about first of all, and keep in mind, this is just me getting good at that in this arena. So I'm just in a very tight space fighting these things. Got to fight the K2SO droid.
Nice.
Which was really creepy. Yeah, because he'll grapple you. And when he would pick me up and slam me down, I could only take 2 of those, and then that would take me out.
Excellent.
And he's got the arms out, and so I'm like running around trying to grab these other things, and he's just like following me, and I could literally have like 8 respawn people just cracking up behind me, just like, yep, you got you again.
Jones, that's so good.
And one thing that they had in the demo, which was great, was they had Probe Droid from Empire, and I don't recall seeing those so far in the gameplay. And I love that I'm just like, God, I'm like throwing the lightsaber at it and like trying to jump and hit it. And I just like didn't even think about it. He's like, you can force pull. And I was like, oh. And it's boom, pull it out of the sky. But it's tough because if it's just me and that, I mean, it's no question I can take it out. But once they start adding more targets that you have to deal with, and once they start classic Batman style, once they start having things that can block and having things that are just out of your reach and shooting, it adds up, and it gets. I easily got flustered. I think I made just like wave like 15 or 16.
Yeah.
And then it was time for my demo.
Jones, are we underestimating like how crazy things are going to get? Do you imagine a scene where you're going up against like 75 stormtroopers? Like,
I don't know.
Could that happen?
I don't know.
Okay.
And again, like they're very forthcoming about how they had this demo set up. He's like, this is an easy demo. He's like, this, when you go through this level in the actual game, it will be much more difficult than this. He's like, we just wanted people to play around with their force powers and have characters like this, like to have the characters with the purple staff be much more challenging. And but
the red blink, is that
is an unblockable attack.
unblockable?
Yeah.
Okay.
Brad Ellis called it. He saw that, and I was like, yeah, I don't know what that is. And he's like, I don't know what that is. Come on. He's on it. But the two favorite abilities that they have that are so much fun is force push, force pull. So pull is left trigger, push is right trigger. And if you hold it down and charge it, if you're doing the force push, he'll charge up and boom, do like a really strong force push. And if you just tap it, he'll do a really simple one.
Cool.
One bit that we'll get to later in the demo. I don't know if they'll. I think they showed this on stage, but I climbed up and it was so much fun because I was like going into areas and it's like I know exactly the amount of stormtroopers that are in this room and I know where they are and I'm gonna mess them up. And so I climbed up and there were two of them looking over a ledge and I just just really easily like force pushed the first guy. But the thing about force push and force pull is it's degrees depending on how long you hold both of the triggers down. And the thing that's fun about force pull is that means you can just like kind of pull somebody toward you, but not necessarily all the way toward you. So when you see him pull somebody all the way toward you and then he does the stab, that's him holding down left trigger the whole time.
Got it.
Oh, okay.
So the one part where he came out and saw the stormtroopers fighting spiders, I killed every single stormtrooper on that ledge. I literally just snuck up behind the first guy, killed him, saw the other guy, threw a lightsaber at him, and just force pull, stab that guy. Nice. Force pull, stab that guy. Because they were all like they were all busy with the spiders. And before I even did that, I killed the first guy and then was just watching it. And I looked over at the guy and he looked over at me and I'm like, and he was like, take your time. He's like, yeah. He's like, sometimes he's like, usually the spiders kill them, but sometimes they'll manage to take one of the spiders out. And I was like, okay, cool. So it'd be neat to actually like watch. There's another scenario that I think we just ran past where like these like bee characters, these like bugs come crawling in, and so you see like the guys with flamethrowers. The guys with flamethrowers, man, brutal.
They'll mess you up.
That was about as far as I got. It was like two flamethrowers, K2SO, probe droid and two guys up on the tower like shooting at me, and I was like, I can't do this.
Really good
if
to hear.
I spent time with it, I probably could get better at it, but I was like, that's time for my demo.
But that's good to hear because that was a concern, because the demo, all we had to really go off was the demo, and everything just looked really. I'm not saying basic, but like it looked simple.
Well, they just wanted to run through it.
Exactly.
Fast,
exactly.
Again, like Avengers, like they wanted to just like do as much as they can. The force grabbing was fairly straightforward, especially after seeing the demo. Like I was able to platform through these areas. So yeah, this is where I just grabbed people one by one. But this guy, if you see over on the right, you can see a guy up on the wall that you later wall run on. And what I did to that guy is I just did a little left trigger tap. And so I pulled him a little bit, but just enough for him to like fall off the ledge.
That's
so I could
so
pull him
good,
all the way over from there. So I just thought that was really cool that like there are degrees to the strength of your abilities, that it's not just like I press a button and it does this thing. That I love that those are assigned to the two triggers. Left bumper is block. Tons of melee attacks that didn't do anything for. Like there are a lot of melee attacks that just went right through that. So it's like mostly for deflecting laser fire and just really simple melee attacks. If you hold block and hit Y, I think that's the saber throw. I think right bumper is a modifier for. I think if you hold down right bumper, he does that like charge attack. And then if you think you hold right bumper and do attacks, he'll do different specific strong attacks. Just didn't have a lot of time to get really good at that. When I was doing the waves, it was like almost all evasion. It was just like I'm just running away from these guys.
How many like blaster shots take you down?
Not a lot. There was not a problem. When I did the waves and it was usually like I was just being stubborn. Oh, I totally didn't go this way. Oh, cool. I went the other way.
Oh, secrets.
Yeah, it was mostly me just being like not selfish, but like when you have like low health and like better. You should get away and heal, but you're still like, no, I'm trying to block and do a cool thing. And then I would just get taken out. So yeah, it was just me being an idiot. And I asked them in the interview, when you got to these like meditation points, is that where you spend your skill points? And I brought it up, and I think one was lightsaber, one was force, and one was just like that also saves your progress. That's the checkpoint on the level. And yeah, everything, once I actually like got into the level itself, everything was pretty straightforward. I was able to just kind of rip through it because it wasn't, again, he said he's like this, the AI is not really tuned up as much as it will be in this area. I was really, I wasn't impressed, obviously, like visually with, you totally didn't do any of this. I wasn't, visually impressed with the environment that I was playing the waves in, but like, I think I had more fun in that area because it was really smart for them to set that up.
That is a very cool idea.
And I feel was, kind of emblematic of like when I was done, Stig grabbed me and was like, what did you think? And we had a really fun conversation just about Star Wars and the design. And I asked him like the ship that he has. I'm like, did you design, is that based on anything? He's like, that's 100% our ship. Like we designed this brand new ship. He mentioned, what I think I had heard them say before, but I believe Doug Chang is his name. He's the guy who designed all of the stuff for the prequels that he and Respawn and Ben Burt, who was the guy that decided what lightsabers sound like, what Chewbacca sounds like, what the Falcon sounds like, all of that stuff, came back to do the sound for BD1. And so it's neat that a lot of the elements in this game are like new, but designed by Respawn and just people that have been around the Star Wars series for a very, very long time. Yeah. Years, if not decades. Like this scenario here is like, it was not necessarily difficult. I didn't want to, I didn't want to do the same thing that he did. I just like deflected absolutely every single shot. Deflection is great. It's like a counter. You can also, it's just left trigger right when it happens, or left bumper.
Okay, yeah.
And you can do a perfect dodge. So you'll see him do that, and everything goes slowly. Never could do it. The whole time. During the waves, and when I actually went through the mission, could never pull it off.
When
if Brad had done my appointment, he probably would have done it.
When Blue Blade guy hits you, is there a block and a parry? Like if you hold block, does it just do it? And if you can you parry, reflect it?
This is where I just shoved the guy off, the guy on the right there. I was like, see ya. Like that. Well, I did it before he even turned around. But you really want to counter. Like you really want to tap that left bumper when you're getting, like I did a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, you can throw people out. I didn't even do any
So
of that.
there is like a counter parry type thing? Cool.
It just gives you an example. Like this room, I did this room completely differently than he's doing that. Like I immediately went over to the gunners on the left. Like
get the range filth out, take him out.
I pushed the other two guys off, and then it was just me and this guy. And the slow-mo was interesting. I got confused right away, and I didn't really get to use it a lot. And then he explained later. I was like, oh, that's what it is, because it's confusing. Like, and I think that's right bumper. So he will slow them down, but the second you go to attack them, it cancels it. So it's really like crowd control. Like it's really just one person, like you stop, and then you go over to someone else, and that person's moving really slowly. But it's not, it's not something it's not something you can use as a crutch. But so it's interesting, like this, and it was funny because my demo ended the same way here, where the K2SO droid comes out and then the demo ends. But I ripped up like 5 of them when I was doing the wave thing. So like it kind of sets this scenario up like this is some big crazy boss battle, and it's not. They're tough. Like once those things grab you, but if you can get around them. They're not that difficult, but it was again, when I did this demo, it was not that difficult. I was not blown away. I didn't really discover like a lot of new things that I didn't understand from watching the demo during the EA Play live stream, and then subsequently behind closed doors. It was really just getting hammered by having like 8 targets at once, all of these different types, and it was funny too because I was on this one thing with these like flamethrower guys, and I got so close and just got cocky. It got taken out, and then one guy came up behind me and was like, "We should really start your demo." And I was like, "Okay." And the reason why people were like, "Wait, no, you were close," and I was like, "We all know what's gonna happen if I try on how this game feels." Like that was kind of like the whole theme of the appointment. Like he walked me through the whole AT-AT sequence, and then actually fired the AT-AT, and then after it had crashed. And stepped out, handed it over to me, and was just very much like paying attention to all the inputs that I was doing, and not only from the controls that I saw, and was very much aware that like I would press 2 buttons together and do some cool move, and I'd be like, oh, I would love to do that on command, but I only got like 3 more minutes of this demo. But even just watching this, like watching like one move that I loved that he pulled somebody toward him and threw him at somebody else. It's neat, and that's kind of actually what I want from a Jedi game, and I think it's gonna be interesting. Kind of this double-edged sword of like, I don't want to be too powerful, but I don't want to be too weak at the same time.
Right.
Like, I want to be able to like have a stormtrooper see me and be like, oh man, if just like 3 guys in a hallway, it's like I'm going to tear through you like tissue paper.
Yeah.
But at the same time, now there's a bunch of you, or now there's a guy who's just kind of far away, or there's just that, again, like Batman, like there's just that one extra annoying guy that I can't just rush through this. I have to deal with him first.
Yeah. That's what I love about Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy, but that has the benefit of having a ton of Sith coming at you,
Right.
It's like you're owning, and then like 4 Sith guys come, and it's like, whoa, okay, now business picks up, and it's like these purple blades don't seem too threatening, and the KSOs you're taking out, but like, are there going to be more Sith, or what's like the big
no hints whatsoever
threat?
at that story? It was funny when Brad and I interviewed 2 members of Respawn at EA Play on Saturday. One guy whose name's Brandon, who I know at Respawn, was really, really nice, and the guy across from him had this look on his face that was like, try me, I'm not answering any of your questions. Lore wise, he was like, I will clarify things you saw in that demo, full stop.
Yeah. I got $20 on Cal being in a live action Star Wars anything. It's gonna happen.
Oh sure,
because Cameron Monaghan is amazing.
He's lore, yeah. He'll pop. He'll be in Star Wars Land, or he'll pop up. I mean, certainly gonna be in Galaxy of Heroes. I know, like I'm waiting for that. And they focused a little bit more on clarified one thing that I understood, but I thought was interesting in terms of like how you actually explore these different levels.
It reminds me of Ratchet and Clank. Do you get a Ratchet and Clank vibe, Jones? Nobody's been saying this, but every time I look at this game, I'm like, dude, Ratchet and Clank. Because you go to a planet, you get new gadgets to progress through it, and it's like, okay, you can leave and come back to the planet, and there's like little side quests, side areas.
Yeah.
They keep saying Metroidvania, but I'm just like, is it Metroid?
A little bit of both, sure.
Okay.
I just think, from what I've seen of Ratchet and Clank, big, wide hallways. Lots of different kind of like targets at once. Obviously, the comedy, which is not in this game too much. Yeah. But yeah, I think there's like maybe a little bit more platforming. Oh, that's the one thing about jumping that I actually overheard Respawn is when I was like trying to get good at it. It's just a natural reflex where you'd be like double jump, and it's not really doing anything in combat. And one of the Respawn guys was like, they always jump. He's like, yeah, and the guy's like, yeah, we had so many jumpers today, and he's like, it just doesn't, it's mostly for platforming and traveling through the level and stuff like that. It's like not going to do a lot for you in combat, but
interesting.
What we saw in the behind closed doors is that you can go into your ship, that there's like the Mass Effect planet navigation where you can bring up all the different planets. But 2 things that they show that I hadn't seen before. One, clarified that it's not only your ship, but there's like a landing area. So every planet has like one specific spot where the ship comes and lands, and then the ship's always going to be there. And so not only are you unlocking things as you go through the level, you're unlocking new creative ways to get back to your ship. So like as you go further and further and further, it's like kind of tricky, like to get back to your ship, and then you unlock like some tram. Like,
there
cool, I can just take that.
That is straight up Ratchet and Clank. Cool. Awesome.
And just in general, it's nice to have that vibe. I love the fact that you can go to your ship. I told Stig this. I'm just like, it just feels like I have a home. It's nice to like go.
Tell me about the ship, Jones.
It's just that you just walk in. It's kind of has like slight Falcon vibes.
You see it. Do you have your like a bedroom? Is there a bedroom?
No. It's like he did say there's more parts of the ship open up as you go throughout the game. Okay. But it was just this initial. Again, they kind of had like a clean Falcon vibe. But I had like the game board and everything. But
can you play? Can you play the game board?
No, he didn't do any of that stuff. But he did dug a little bit deeper than Behind the Closed Doors did, where he brought up the level and then zoomed in and showed you like. This is, this white door identifies the door is here. We don't know what's going on with that door. Red doors are inaccessible. Green doors mean you've been here and now have the ability to open that door. And I love that stuff. Like that's one of the things that attracts me to the Prime series is it looks like, it can get pretty, perplexing, but it looks like it's very straightforward in terms of like what you can do, what you can't do, where you've been, where you haven't.
Cool.
And one planet that he looked at, you could see where you were going to land when you went there, but like you could see there was just the rest of the map that was all grayed out because like you haven't been there, you haven't unlocked it yet.
Jones, I'm going to ask you a question that you could give an hour-long answer for. So tone it down. You are a Star Wars super fan. Star Wars maniac. I thought I liked Star Wars until I met you. How excited are you for this story, for the lore, for this point in this franchise?
It's interesting that you brought that up because I think that's the most, tepid that I am for this project at this point.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily need more lore in this time period, like between 3 and 4. Like I think I'm hoping they discover some really interesting things. There is an interesting moment between Saul Guerrero and I can't remember if that was shown during the live stream where he's like, "What are you doing here?" And then your co-pilot says, "Oh, he's a Jedi," and Saul's like, "What?" And you show him the lightsaber, and Saul's like, "Did you steal that?" And he's like, "No, I got that from my master." And he's like, "Okay, all right." Like, just saying because it's rare, and so it's interesting. Initially when they showed him with the cloak up and he's hiding from everybody, I was like, "Oh, it'd be cool if there's stealth mechanics." And I'm like, "No, not really." But like, it'd be interesting to go to these different planets and have them react to you. As a Jedi, like I hope that's something that they don't take for granted. I hope that doesn't get old. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna kind of let this story happen. Like I really don't have any expectations. There's no characters I like hope are in it. There's no planets like I hope we go to. I hope it's weird. I hope it's unusual. I hope there's like this moment that's like spoiled for me now, but like when this like, spider comes out of nowhere, like I hope there's a lot of that where you like get trapped in a like what and some crazy looking thing I've never seen before. It's not like it's the thing from the hollow chest board or like it's a Sarlacc neat. Like I hope there's just crazy
like, do
stuff.
you want those?
I hope the planets feel very different from each other.
Do you want those fan service moments? Like, do you want a Sarlacc pit or do you want a Rancor to show up?
Not really.
You want to distance it?
I'll appreciate that stuff. I hope they're subtle. Like there's the one line that they did have in the live stream where he's like, "We have the high ground." You're like, "Huh." So like there are little beats like that. I hope. Oh, I feel so bad because when he force pushes the black astromech into the group.
Yeah.
I turn the corner and it's there, and I like look at the guy that's demoing, and I'm like, I'm gonna walk right past this droid. Thank you very much. I'm not gonna use it as a projectile. And then of course I accidentally hit with my lightsaber, like cut it in half. Like, oh, sorry. But yeah, you do bring up a good point though. Is that like. I am excited about this game, man. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna arm wrestle Brad to review this thing. But like, do I really care about Cal right now? No. Okay. You know who I care about? BD1, man.
BD1.
And that was one of the things that I told the team before I left. They were like, "What really stood out to you?" And I'm like, "I know this is not the answer you're looking for because you really want like that nuanced combat reaction. But I just love that you go up to a terminal and BD1's like, got it, and you just whoop, whoop, like goes over.
That's great.
And that just helps streamline the whole thing because like I'm not doing this to hack machines. I'm not doing this to spend a lot of time at terminals typing at stuff.
Yeah.
Hold B to like type. And so I like that. Not only is that stuff quick, but a lot of times it's accompanied by a fun little interaction between him and Cal. You didn't see it, but when he takes control of the AT-AT, he walks in the cockpit and then kind of looks over at BD1, and then BD1 hops up in the middle and like beeps at the two of them. And they're like, "What?" And then he like crushes their heads. Oh, and I forgot this. When he's piloting it, he's like, "Okay," and like trying to get the controls of the AT-AT, and this hologram comes up, and this guy's like yelling at Cal, and Cal's like, "Can you shut him up, please?" And BD1 just steps over and like stops on the machine.
My gosh.
So like, yeah, I'm a sucker for that guy, and I told the whole Respawn team, I'm like, I know you're selling him. When are you selling him? When can I get him?
Oh my god.
This Stig's like, he's on my desk right now. We'll see if that hits stores. But,
Switch version.
Yeah.
Amiibo.
So
Let's go.
Do I need the lore? Not at all. Like I'm just gonna kind of see, the worlds. I think I'm mostly looking forward to, and just getting good at it. It's one of those demos where, like, by the end of it, I'm like, I'm kind of finally in control of this game, and sadly, I have to leave. That was like the last sentiment that I told him before I took off. Is like, the only thing I'm sad about is I wish I was better at this. Because I'm just starting to, not only get skilled at it and get good at dodging and stuff, but seeing the playfulness of it. And I wonder if there's going to be like a replayable sense of like the mission I undertook is done on this planet, but if I go back, maybe it started to repopulate a little bit with soldiers and stuff, and I can play around. So story, but do I want to play more of this? Yeah, I wish I had it right now. I'd play around with it a lot. It's fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
What else? Up next, the Outer Worlds. I'd love to get Ben up in here.
I would love to eat some food if I can. Let me see if I can grab somebody else.
See if we can get Ben and maybe Ian.
Do it. Star Wars, man. Star Wars. We're getting a Star Wars game this year. Like, even if it's just good,
Yeah.
Doesn't need to be great, just be good. Star Wars. Just give us a good Star Wars game. Swimming in sevens, I will take at this point. Jedi Outcast Blood. When's the last time you played it? Jedi Outcast 2.
Didn't we like do a stream of it or
You know,
try
I
to do a
think we
stream of
did.
it?
I think we did.
Yeah,
Yes.
but yeah, I hadn't really because I didn't have a decent PC at those days.
Those were the good old days. I had a
Yeah.
good PC. Not anymore.
What's that?
I don't have a good PC anymore.
You have a good enough PC.
Hanging in there. Blue collar.
Blue collar PC.
It's getting late, Chad. I'm getting loopy.
Got about 40 minutes left.
My goodness. 40 minutes right now feels like 3 hours. Woo!
We'll be good.
Hanging in.
It's funny though because we are a little bit isolated, so I don't know like what's happening out there.
I don't know what's going on out there. I don't know who's here. I don't know anything. Here comes Ben with
Ben
a
Moore?
fresh
Is that
brew,
coffee?
dude.
Man.
Oh boy, yes,
Oh my God.
Welcome to E3 2019.
it is time.
This is the sweet justice, sweetest moment right here.
Hello. We're talking about a game I'm very excited for.
Yes. Which is what's funny though is there are a lot of parallels with Cyberpunk. So,
Oh, okay.
Cyberpunk.
The game's not even out, and that's such a good thing. Like Cyberpunk.
Oh, it's
you
like
say.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk, the new Souls comparison. Here we go. Oh, it's like
I mean, well, and then the other thing that you can obviously take as a parallel is it's Fallout. It's a first-person RPG with guns.
Yeah.
The difference is this game actually looks pretty. So
From Obsidian, they did Fallout New Vegas.
yeah.
Not
Yeah. And
Common
so
knowledge for
they
everyone.
had a demo today. It was similar to the Cyberpunk demo in that we didn't get a chance to play it. One thing that was an interesting thing they tried. I don't is it bragging or what? I don't know exactly like why you would set up your demo this way, but they're like, yeah, we didn't actually like make a separate E3 demo for this. This is just our live build of where the game is, where it's at. And it was like, well, you're still starting a mission from a save file at a specific point.
Yeah.
But still, it's looking very cool. They talked a little bit about the background, some of the stuff that they sort of bring up in the trailer here about like all of society is kind of run by these corporations. And your character is this stranger, and you kind of sort of determine what your role is. Like you're going to be villain or hero or psychopath, is what the character in the trailer says.
Could we convince Jones to be a psychopath? That'd be a good bet. Make Jones be a psychopath.
He already is, man. He played Disney Infinity for that long.
Wait, can you tell me about that drop kick the character did, Bloodworth?
No, I don't think I can. This is showing a lot of stuff, and this was like a very specific mission. So we're on this planet called Monarch, I think is the name of the planet, and they're in a town called Fallbrook, and kind of there's sort of this interesting idea in that this planet was one of the first that they tried to terraform, and it didn't take quite right. And so, like, the animals and stuff, the native animals, rather than just getting kind of wiped out, they all sort of, like, mutated into, like, larger creatures and stuff.
Freakos.
And so the corporations mostly, like, backed off from the planet, but I think there's, like, one corporation is, like, decided that they're going to stay, but everyone else decided, like, nah, we're like, basically quarantining this planet. And so then there's a smuggling company there. And then so you essentially end up talking to this woman, Catherine, who is sort of head of the smuggling company. And she wants you to go into... I'm trying to remember what it was that she actually had as like a problem with this guy. But this guy... So there's this factory that makes like... They call it borscht. So it's like basically like pig meat.
Whoa.
But she wants you to go in and like, kind of shut down the factory and talk to the guy leading the factory and stuff. But they really focused on. They say they're obsessed with choice, and I think this is why it was kind of like the parallels to Cyberpunk, because similarly, like you have these dialogue options in there where there's when you're talking to her, like you can try to charm her or you can try to intimidate her, but you got to have the points to like back that up. And then there was another point that's later on, I think, where their intelligence skill.
This was like my number one question.
Their
Yes.
intelligence skill was low, so there is an option that you otherwise wouldn't have as the dumb option.
So good.
Classic Fallout. Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
because you're so dumb, you can say this dumb thing that's probably not going to work out for you, but hey, you can
That's
go
so
that way.
That's excellent.
The other interesting thing in terms of your choices and stuff is, so like Fallout, you have companions. So these unique characters that come along with you, they have their own stories and backstories and things. What I find really interesting here is that the companions, they have things that they like. They have their own values. They have things that they're gonna vibe with you or not vibe with you. And if you get to a point where they just like, nah, dude, I think you're a creep,
Yeah.
they just leave.
Whoa.
They just leave your party.
Awesome.
Or you can also imagine that going the other way,
Yeah.
where you have a companion and they're like, "You're a creep, awesome."
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say like they become obsessed with you or something.
Sure.
Even.
Right.
Also,
They just follow
seemingly
you around.
plausible.
I'm
yeah.
curious what other dimensions these go in. Like, if there's some guy who's just like itchy trigger finger, and you're like always stealthing. There's like, dude, you're boring, dude. I'm out of here. I'm sick of trying to sneak around. You won't let me shoot anything. Like it would be great. Yeah. So I'm really curious, like what kind of dimensions this takes on. The other thing I think that's pretty cool about how the companions work is that they boost stats.
Boosted.
So again, like if we're talking about, like having like some kind of techie or stealth or something like that, your stealth stat will be boosted because you have this stealth expert in your party.
That's hard because I hope that doesn't make me. I want to choose the companions based on I am the most invested in your story. I want to see that quest line through.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of companions boosting stats. I think it's a good idea, but I don't want to feel like I'm forced to use it just because I built my character this particular way, I guess.
Yeah, I can see that. They also show up in dialogue choices, and so they basically had like a little. They have a person icon with like a plus on it to indicate that like this dialogue option is only available to you because one of these companions is in your party. And I don't know if that's entirely based on, again, those stat boosts, or if there are other like nuanced ways, like maybe if they have a backstory that can feed into this. I'm not sure. It seemed to be more of a stat-based thing in that sense. The character that they had there was more of a leadership build, so that way they can have, I think, more loyalty from their companions.
How many companions can you have?
They had 2 in the demo. I'm not
Okay.
sure if there's a maximum to that.
I would imagine there'd have to be.
Yeah.
Maybe they like you have 2 in your party at
Yeah.
once, and then
Yeah,
they're
and you
like
can-
hanging
Right.
out somewhere.
Right, they're in a particular location. You can go there if you want to pick them up.
Got it.
The combat kind of has a Fallout-like sense of you're shooting, but it's also strategic.
Is there VATS?
There's a thing that's sort of like VATS, but not VATS. So essentially, there's like this slow-mo thing that you can do when you're assessing a situation. And you can stay in that slow-mo as long as you want and kind of look around and monitor where guys are, like line up that sniper headshot.
Mm-hmm.
But then as soon as you take any kind of action, then it's gone. And then everything comes into real time. So I'm not sure if...
So you can do it like once, maybe to open the
I think it's
encounter?
kind of like an opening
Okay.
volley. I'm not sure like how much of a cooldown it's on, or if it's when people are aggro to you, you can't use it. But the way that kind of at least appeared in this situation is, yeah, they shot at that guy. They got the headshot, and then everyone just started coming after them. And then they they triggered a companion special to follow up. So they got the headshot on the guy, and then this companion had like this laser minigun that just pretty much annihilated them, blew them to sparks.
I love when Bloodworth laughs about like
Violence.
a brutal,
Yep.
violent
Like-
kill. It's good.
They're not with us anymore.
Yeah.
Ha 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 ha.
Oh, no, actually, you might be okay. I did write down this note. So they did say that these things actually refresh pretty quickly because they want you to be using the specials and the time dilation quite a bit.
Did the shooting look good? Did it look smooth? Did it look like it? I guess you always worry in something like this where it's like, okay, I love the choice, I love the narrative, I love the world, but the combat is just something I'm getting through.
It looked good to me. The thing is that I think it is more, I guess, slower paced in a way. You know, I mean, some people can see that as a negative, but I think what they're going for something that's more of a strategic level rather than just like run and gun, snap and shoot a bunch of guys like firing from the hip. They have effects for what body parts that you hit. So if you line up a leg shot, they'll cripple their leg.
Very VATS.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing of VATS.
Yeah, but this is something that you do much more in real time.
Right.
Yeah.
Shooting those
You
kneecaps.
can get people to drop their weapons. You can actually, if you shoot somebody in the face, you can actually blind them. So
Do you have to shoot the eyeball or just like headshots?
I'm sure it's probably not super pinpoint, but maybe if you have to shoot them in the front of the face, I don't know. And then when you get up to the factory, they talked about 3 different ways that you can get into this factory. You can do the guns blazing thing. They said you can find a disguise somehow and go in with the disguise. And then the other way is that there's like a sewer entrance, so you can sneak in through the sewers. And I kind of wish that I had like this demo like 3 times in a row because they said that they've just been alternating like throughout the day, like different people that go in and see the demo, like actually get to see those different options.
Yeah.
So in mine, they did the sewers, and they kind of joked about they did the video game waterfall thing. So there's a waterfall, and behind the waterfall is the sewer entrance.
Nice.
That you lockpick,
I love that.
get in the sewers.
What's the lockpicking like, bud?
I don't remember like the specific mechanic. My brain is all over the place between trying
alright.
to take notes and do all the.
It's late. It's late.
Yeah, but what they did have in there are these. Okay, so we talked about this being a meat factory, right? The meat is like the grossest kind of thing you could imagine. So I have these creatures called cysty pigs.
Oh God.
That have been bred so that they have these tumors.
Ugh.
And the tumors grow to a certain point, and then they just kind of fall off of them, like fruit falling off of a tree. And then that's what they harvest the tumors, and then
And they eat the tumor.
and that's what they sell.
That's worse than the synthetic meat stuff in Cyberpunk. Congratulations, Outer World, you win grossest meat of E3 2019.
We should have that as an award.
Yeah.
The grossest meat award.
Yeah, take
Grossest
that note.
meat.
You win eating tumors. My goodness.
I'm gonna like cut out just a badge, like stick it on their their booth.
No,
Grossest
you like stick like ground beef on their booth.
They did stealth through past a lot of like there's like guard robots and stuff in there. They also talked about that you could sabotage the pens somehow, the pig pens, and I'm not sure exactly what that would do, whether that would like kill a bunch of pigs
let them loose
or let them loose and let
yeah.
them like stampede or something like that. And then one of the things that's interesting is, okay, so you imagine like a big factory floor, and you've just got workers all over the place, and then your foreman or whoever, there's like an intercom, and so you can use your dialogue skills to get on the intercom and find a way to basically evacuate all the humans from the factory. Like and they had like a bunch of different stories, and that's where the dumb dialogue was. So it's like you find a way to get people to like say, okay, we've got to get out of here.
Fire.
Yeah.
You could also hack the robots there. And then there's if you have enough engineering skills, there's some way to like sabotage the factory as well. And then you kind of you confront the guy that's heading up the factory in his private quarters, and he's sitting there chopping. There's like all this blood and stuff everywhere, and they kind of have this great exchange, this back and forth, to where they make you, they kind of lead you to believe that like he's a cannibal or something. It's like no, man, this is just the meat. This is what we make here. Like, but he kind of has this line is like, yeah, this is what I do with the bodies when I hide them or something like that.
Sketchy.
But I think there's one point where there's like one of your companion like actually interjects in the conversation as well. So again, like who you have and
did you get any sense of like when a companion interjects, or if they have a strong feeling? Like, can you talk them down? Or is it kind of a back and forth? Do they get more or less pissed off with you depending on how the conversation evolves after they interject? Or I guess just how dynamic is that system?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's probably something that you kind of have to deal with, like how you move forward in that conversation with whoever you're talking to.
Because, and I would kind of love this if like you're trying to broker a deal or something and things are going smooth, but your companion's just like, no, I can't stand for this, and they ruin like by bringing them along.
Right.
A consequence is like they might ruin some of your plans, and I think that would be cool.
And again, the parallels to Cyberpunk here. So with this guy, like you don't have to do what you're sent for. Like you can take him out, or you can like he can convince you to double cross the person that sent you, or they're saying, if you want to try, if you think that you've got enough charm or whatever, you can try to actually get them to work together. So again, just like kind of all of these dialogue choices and combat choices and ways to get into a mission, and so it's just like everything is just like play this game. And I think they even said something about like, we wanted you to be able to build your character however you want, because this isn't our character, this is your character. It's like very specifically said that.
Love a good double cross.
It's so funny having this be the next kind of game discussion that I'm in for right after Cyberpunk, because there are so many parallels, and in a lot of ways I feel like both games are trying to accomplish similar things. But when I think about Fallout or when I think about Obsidian, the companions definitely jump out, a big thing. But the other thing I think about is just the quality of writing. With Obsidian games in particular, I just enjoy the way people talk, because it feels so natural, and they're able to do so many different types of characters so well, and they get so creative with it. I mean, were you like chuckling throughout it? Did you have any moment where you're like, oh, that was a really clever line of dialogue beyond what you've already discussed?
I don't know about beyond what I've discussed, but yeah, I did feel when I was talking to these people, again, just that the difference in just how people look compared to Fallout, just like how natural they feel. It's like just talking to this person overall. And again,
and when you get that, is it from like the way that they're talking? Is it the way that they're animating, or is it a combination?
Yeah, it's definitely a combination. It's it's really in that face and how they look when they're talking to you. And again, it's kind of funny. Like we have butcher characters in both of them. It's like, there's too many weird parallels between these games that
there
are
are
not seeing
weird
each other.
parallels. Yep.
But just again, the fact that he's making these jokes when you go up to his office, that he's supposed to be this adversary that you're about to take down, and he's just gonna have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing in my office? Like, where's everybody else? But yeah.
It sounds like what I would want out of an Obsidian game,
Yeah.
out of a sort of Fallout-like game from them at this point. Cool. Sounds awesome.
Yeah, very, very excited about this game.
It's another
Kept
game.
getting it confused with Outer Wilds. I was very confused.
Yeah.
It was
They're
hard
entirely-
for me to
entirely
get
different.
fully on board and hyped. Now I definitively know the Outer Worlds. I am on board. I'm in.
Just think
Cannot
of
wait.
the tumor cuisine.
What did you say earlier, man? You had an all-time classic. Something receptacle.
Quest receptacle.
Quest receptacle.
Yeah.
You gotta remember that one, man. That's gold right there, Ben. That is
I think there's room for one more.
Okay.
Ben, I'm gonna leave it. I think you want to talk about Psychonauts 2.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I saw Psychonauts 2 and Borderlands 3 today, and actually both are worth talking about for completely different reasons. Where Psychonauts 2, the presentation was what I got out of it was Tim Schafer going through and being very detailed, and so it was just a lot of information, which was great. Whereas Borderlands 3 was, they did have a presentation beforehand, but a lot of what I got was just from my own hands-on time, and so it's a very different sort of impression. I guess. Do either of you have a preference between the two?
I would really like to hear about Borderlands.
Okay.
I'd like to hear about it, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Is Damiani still there? Do we have Ben's footage?
Yeah, I captured some footage of Borderlands 3. So Borderlands 3, what I want to say to kind of build upon this is just very much Borderlands in exactly the way that you would expect. You are fighting like very similar types of enemies in very similar looking environments to something like Borderlands 2, and it had the same kind of pace. So you would go into a combat arena, and there'd be a number of guys that you have to kill, and then you go through them, and then there might be another wave, and then there'd be a ton of chests and lockers and things where you can open, and that is just very classic Borderlands, right? That constant picking up ammo, picking up money, picking up gear all the time. And I very much got that sense in this demo. But what really impressed me about this demo, and where Borderlands 3 felt like a step up, is how the environment evolved over time and the personality that it had, and how it just kind of kept building until it got to a boss fight that I thought was actually really clever. Pretty easy, but like really creative. And that was something that they mentioned, where they were like, we want to have the boss fights feel pretty momentous.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, I got a sense of that even before we had that fight, just the area itself. And I really am kind of digging the villain. So you have these two twins.
Yeah.
And I don't remember her name, but you're only in the demo. You're only getting one of them. You're getting the.
I think the footage might not work for us without converting it or something.
Oh no.
No.
Yeah. Oh, it's a bummer because
I'll
I
try
played
some
as the
stuff,
awesome siren lady.
Yeah.
with the arms that come out and are punching everything.
That's what I played as when I played it too. What'd you say, Damiani?
I can try something, but keep talking.
Okay, sure.
Okay, we'll keep talking. But yeah, so you have these two twins, and the girl is really interesting because it felt like it was a commentary on YouTuber/streamer culture.
It's very much that. They called them at one point like the most annoying streamers you've ever seen or something like that.
Yeah.
And they have this huge following that's like almost literally a cult.
Yeah, but I actually thought they were doing, at least in the demo, can't speak for the full game, but I at least thought in the demo they were doing the critique of it pretty well.
That to me means a lot.
Yeah.
That you said that, Ben. Because this stuff can be so poorly written and so cringy.
Right.
But you saying that, like, I believe every word you say every time, man. And
So-
like, wow.
Right. Hard to extrapolate too much in a 20-minute demo.
Yeah.
But like Borderlands, very irreverent with good reason. Like it definitely has a style, definitely has a personality, but it felt like it really was biting here a little bit on something very specific, something that stands to be bit, something that maybe deserves some punches, because this character like had this absolutely rabid fan. Like the character would do almost nothing. This YouTuber, streamer person, and this guy would be like, "Whoa, best thing ever! Oh my gosh, he crushed it again! Did it so amazing!" I was like, "Okay, yeah, that's."
This
those
is looking
interactions
smoother
are
so far.
Kind of believable. And then she did the thing where she said something like evil and was like, "Oh yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe." And so yeah, definitely very pointed commentary on that culture, which I appreciated. But the area that you're in, it's kind of all about sound, and there were traps as well. And it was just an increasingly cool environment because you'd have these giant speakers that were littered throughout this place, and they would light up and they would glow like red, and then they would burst out sound. And so you had to, and it's kind of funny having a trap like that in the flow of Borderlands, because you're like, oh, okay, I killed all these dudes. Let me get this loot. Let me pick up all this stuff. And you would hear it building up, and you're like, oh, wait, I have to get out of the way. And so it was something to kind of break up the, like, going on autopilot, just grabbing everything. It's like, oh, I got to be a little bit careful. There's something here to get me. And then kind of reinforcing that commentary of worship over this person, Tyreen is her name. You would have, like, giant stained glass windows of her as well. And it reinforced the theme, but it also just looked really cool.
Yeah.
A big fan of giant stained glass windows.
Heck yeah. Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, it's still being weird.
Damn.
That's too bad.
Because everything looked like, not the choppiness, but like everything looks smooth. The shooting looks so smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, the shooting is very smooth. Used a shotgun and an assault rifle throughout the bulk of it. Got
How'd
a
it
couple
feel?
of other guns throughout it.
How's the shotgun?
The shotgun is really, really cool, and I actually wanted to highlight the shotgun because it emphasizes that something that Borderlands has always done well, which is just ridiculous weaponry.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you reload the shotgun, you don't reload it, you throw it away, which is something they've done before.
Yeah.
But it explodes, and then it has like two explosions. So you throw it, and it explodes, and then it has like a scatter grenade effect on top of that.
Yes.
And you can just see them sitting in a room being like, okay, what if we do this? And that is where most people would end. And then they add two other layers on top of it, which is really cool.
I like it.
But yeah, I want to talk about the Siren that I played. Amara, I think is her name.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
And I want to talk about the skills and how they worked together in a pretty cool way. But I want to talk about this boss because I think it was definitely a highlight for me. It was the same guy that was hyping up Tyreen throughout it. And you fight him, and he has the speakers that have been traps throughout this whole environment, but now they're surrounding you. And so when they go off, you have a lot more things to avoid, and he'd be summoning ads. But the coolest thing about him, all about sound, all about like these giant speakers, his shield would have like sound levels that would go up. And so it was just a really cool effect as he was jumping around, slamming down, like seeing the audio on his shield just light up. That was really, really cool and fun to fight.
Like a lot of colors flying everywhere, just really colorful.
Yeah, and so it was a boss fight where it felt like there was a lot going on, and it was easy. I didn't have a hard time getting through it, but it just visually was very cool, and it felt like okay, there are a whole bunch of different components of this boss fight coming together. It wasn't just one thing that they were doing, and Amara as well. So what I liked about Amara is like the action skill that I picked is pretty typical. You see this in a ton of games, but it was just a giant ground slam where you actually leap forward quite a bit and slam down on the ground. But that action skill was just so well complemented by the two passive abilities that I picked. So one of the passive abilities that I picked is that you constantly have regenerating health, but then the other one was, okay, you'll do bonus damage if you get in enemies' faces. And so it just promoted a really aggressive playstyle, and every single thing felt like it supported the other, where it's like, okay, I have this ground slam to initiate combat or to handle big groups, but then because of the ground slam, I'm going to be in their face after I do it, so I'm going to get bonus damage. And of course, because I'm playing so aggressively and because I'm in their face all the time, not having as much cover, I'm really benefiting from the regenerating health. Nice. And I love that. It wasn't just like, okay, I'm picking all of these things, and yeah, they all have an effect, but they have different effects. They're all doing different things, and so I really loved the synergy between that.
Cool.
But yeah, I guess the other things to bring up beyond what I played is they did have a presentation beforehand.
Oh, okay.
And they talked more about the social aspects of Borderlands 3. And I
within
really,
the game or like me and you?
Playing co-op, right?
Playing co-op, but how, like, even if you're playing by yourself, how your friends can interact your experience. And it actually sounds pretty ambitious in a really cool way.
Whoa.
So
okay.
when you, like classic Borderlands, you have the vending machines where you can buy loot. But every once in a while, if your friend sold a weapon to a vending machine, you might get a chance to buy it. And so it'll be like, oh, this loot is being brought to you by Huber.
Very
and so
cool.
I
That's
get a
funny.
benefit of your old stuff.
Nice.
And it's another decision that you can make, which I thought
The
was
Huber's
really, really
hand-me-downs. Got it.
cool. Yeah, the Huber hand-me-downs.
That's why I got to play this game with Huber's hand-me-downs. I can't get my own guns.
Say the good ones.
And they'll all be shotguns. They're like, Huber, give me an assault rifle for once.
That would be hilarious if you just walk up to a vending machine and it's like, oh, these are just Huber shotguns.
Yep,
There's nothing else in
15
here.
shotguns. Yep. Another thing, kind of along the same line, is the bounty board. So there's this board that you can go to, and you can see kind of what your friends are doing. So if there's a rare spawn that happened and you're going after it, I can come and join you. So it's like I'm aware of your activities and I can help you out. So just really finding like ways to engage with each other and new ways to help each other out. That is very focused.
It like if you're level 20 and I'm level 15, we're scaled, right? We see enemies that are our level if we're together.
Yeah. I
Cool.
believe that is something that they already came out and talked about.
That's what they
Cool.
showed at the
Yeah.
reveal event. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, it just seems really easy to play together, which is always awesome.
Yep. And for the first time, you can mail loot to friends, which is cool.
This is when you're going to get all my shotguns.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be mailing
So
you
I'm
these
getting it in the
things.
vending machines, and he's mailing it to me. I can't. It's too much. There are also global weapon skins, and so what that means is, regardless of the manufacturer of the gun, there are skins that you can apply to everything.
Like legendary
Yeah, so if there's a
skins,
global skin that you really, really like, you are not limited to the type of weapon that you can apply it
That's
to.
cool.
Wait, so if it's a skin for a shotgun, it'll look like an assault rifle?
So like whatever pattern it is,
Got
you
it.
have
Right.
this global weapon skin, and so you can apply it to a shotgun, you can apply it to an assault rifle,
got it.
regardless
Cool.
of the manufacturer
Cool,
of those
cool,
types of weapons.
Okay.
So yeah, a small thing, but something that's really cool. They showed off an environment, Eden 6, and they said that it was inspired by like a Louisiana bayou. And they said that we wanted to do something different than what we've typically done in Borderlands, and so it's a lush jungle. They had like very dinosaur-looking creatures. Tiny Tina is going to be there hanging out. We saw a very brief glimpse.
Not so
of
Tiny
her.
Tina now, right?
They were really zoomed in on her face, so it was
Oh,
hard to
okay.
get a sense of how tall she was. But yeah, and then the last thing that they focused on, and Hubert, like I'm so glad you're here for this. There's no one better. They focused on the gunner Vault Hunter, Mose. And Mose's big thing is that she has a mech, and the name of this mech is the Iron Bear.
Yes.
And so the mech and how you interact with it is kind of her whole gimmick. But something that's really cool about it is you can equip different weapons to each arm. And so, and then there are skill trees that give you multiple options. So you have the demolition skill tree, which is kind of the most straightforward, where you can have like rocket launchers and grenade launchers. But because you have these two different arms, you can have like 2 rocket launchers, 2 grenade launchers. You can mix and match. And so there's a lot of customization there.
Can I have an axe and a shotgun?
I did not see axe or shotgun as the option. I'll go through the rest of them and we'll see how they hit you. Okay. The next skill tree is the Shield of Retribution.
Nice, yes.
Which kind of the style of this, again, very aggressive. Fight harder when health is low. You have a railgun, which it sounded like you could equip different elements with. Not quite sure on that, but you do have a railgun. And then you have a fist that you can use, which you can also grab with, which is really cool. And then bottomless mags is the next skill tree. And if you don't want to reload and you just want to keep firing, this is your skill tree. And the weapons that are featured in this skill tree support that. So you have a flamethrower, a minigun, just keep blasting away.
Oh my gosh.
What was really cool about the bottomless mag skill tree, and it was the last thing that they ended on for this presentation, that I thought was a perfect close, is if you're playing with your friends, you can actually, and you have a minigun, you can have your buddy jump on the back of your mech and use it as a turret that they're controlling. So you're doing damage from the Iron Bear mech, which is you can't be in the Iron Bear all the time.
Okay.
It does have fuel, and there's a meter right in the center of your screen, and you can see that going down.
Got it.
But you're getting extra damage from Iron Bear, and then they can jump on your back and get that extra damage.
That's awesome.
Which is really, really cool.
How do you refuel? Is it just like an ultimate ability?
They didn't go
or?
into that. They didn't even talk about it. It was just something you could see while they were playing Moe's.
Got it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Is that her main ability? Does she have other abilities? Or is this like her big strength is like getting this mech out, so you kind of want to save it for big moments?
Right. Her whole thing is this mech, and then where you get the variety is how you can customize it, and then what sort of playstyle each skill tree emphasizes.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like a unique character to use compared to like the Siren, who can just like ground pound all the time, right? You can just keep ground pounding.
Well, no. You can't ground pound all the time. And
Yeah, it's on a cooldown.
It's on a cooldown. And actually something that took me a while to get used to, and you can see it in the footage, is ground pounds in different games behave a little bit differently. Sometimes you ground pound, and it's like, okay, it is where I started the ground pound. I just immediately slam below me. Not how the ground pound works with Amara here. You actually flip quite a ways. And so it's a good way to like vault over obstacles or close the gap just in general with enemies. So yeah, you get a huge lunge and then you slam down. And it has this kind of like earthquake effect on the ground, which is cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Sorry that we weren't able to have that footage working, but I do think that the level, at least, that you played is the same one that they showed at the reveal event.
Okay.
So people have seen the boss with the sound and everything there. We've got about 5 minutes left or so. I think I can get through Grid in that 5 minutes. So yeah, Codemasters has brought a new Grid back. I'm not sure why they just called it Grid. I should have asked them that much. But I got to talk to one of the developers and play 2 tracks. And one of the interesting things that he was talking about, and the funny thing is I was actually just supposed to be in a gameplay session, and they had like a different type of session to talk to the developer.
Okay.
But the guy that was supposed to be in the developer session came after I was there, and so he was just there, and the PR guy was like, oh no, this isn't your guy. The other guy's coming. And he's like, well, I'm just going to talk to him now and just tell him about it, because he really wanted to just tell me about it. He's like, I don't know how these things work. I'm just going to talk to you for
Roped in.
So it was great. But basically, one of the 2 of the main things that he wants to convey and how this game plays is, number 1, feeling like you're getting a sense of progression without having to just keep rerunning the same race until you get into first place. So it's like he's like, even if you get into 12th place, you're still enjoying it. You're still having a good time. You still feel like you're contributing and moving forward and learning from your mistakes without just having to I'm just stuck in this grind until I can get past this one. The other thing that's really interesting is that they're developing these AI rivalries. So,
Deep mind.
So all of the different AI drivers, when you're racing, they have names. And so after a while, you start to recognize like their driving behaviors and how they relate to you on the track. And so if you bump a guy and you keep bumping the same guy, eventually he's going to start to like not like you. He's going to start hating you.
Dude, Skynet.
And you're going to see like a little like red like character mark like over his car.
Oh my god.
And he's going to start like acting more aggressively towards you on the track and stuff. And
racing socially.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then similarly, there'll be guys with like little green marks over their cars who they're going to be a little bit more lenient to you. They might let you go by or whatever. So it's really interesting to think about how this stuff influences you.
Did you get any sense of how gradual that was? How many races it would take, or for that repeated behavior to really take effect?
I don't really know.
Sure.
It's kind of hard to say again. It's like I talked to him about it, and I saw like the mechanic like in the HUD while I was racing, but I only did 2 races.
If you're a maniac and you're just ramming everyone, will they all be red and like team up against you, like box you out?
They just
how
form
deep?
a line.
Yeah,
I'm
how
curious.
deep can this
I'm
go?
curious. I did feel like I had people knocking me for sure on this wall. I'm doing fine here, and then bam, there's the wall. I'm like, all right, dudes, thanks a lot for that.
You're getting punished for the last guy that demoed it.
Yes.
You're punished Bloodworth.
They had me do the 2 tracks. One was, and I think this kind of shows the kind of the breadth. And I saw on the other station there was like a whole lot of different disciplines, but they had one that was with like kind of the stock car, muscle cars on like hilly streets in San Francisco. So like you go like up the hill, like street by street, and then down the hill, and there's some pretty, they try to thread that line between like realism and like not quite arcadey, but still having a bit of fun with things. So like you just like hopping those hills, man. You're going uphill and you're hopping and you're bopping and sliding around those turns a bit. And then the other one was more technical. You had a Porsche on Brands Hatch, and yeah, everything it feels good. It looks good. Obviously, to see these things in action takes time.
I had a quick question about the progression.
Yeah.
So you were mentioning that like, hey, we don't want you to grind out the same race. That however ending you can move on and get variety, and we want you to keep moving forward. The steps forward that you're getting, is that at all influenced by like how you're playing? Like if you're playing with a bunch of assists, are you still progressing at a similar rate to somebody who isn't? And maybe tuning the difficulty to be harder.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. One thing I did notice is that they have the based on how you're driving, it's almost like a skill system, sort of like how Forza Horizon has.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're racing on the ideal line, you're starting to rack up points for being in that zone. If you're making, they had like overtake combo, where like if you pass like 3 people like right together, like because there's one point where it was okay, these guys are all over here fighting it out. I can sort of shortcut across this way.
That's really smart.
Yeah. So it'll be a cool game to see. I think as always, as people know, I take a lot of time when I get through a racing game.
Yeah.
Spend a lot of time digging into it. But yeah,
Very thorough.
I think that'll be it for tonight. We're at 11:59. It's time to go to bed. Get back on the show floor for our 9 a.m. appointments.
9 a.m.
Some interesting
hands
highlights for tomorrow. Several of us are going to be seeing Nintendo. Huber
must be nice.
is going to be seeing Doom Eternal and Wolfenstein Youngblood, as well as Dying Light 2 and Control. This is a Huber day tomorrow, man.
Yeah, it is.
Oh no, there's
some other good
some
stuff in there.
for me.
Yeah. It's actually pretty giant. We're both going to Modus, but you're seeing Trine 4. I'm seeing Chris Tales. Hopefully there'll be some crossover into that, because I'd be curious to see what you think of Chris Tales as well.
Yeah, I really want to download the demo. It's just been work. E3.
Ian seeing some interesting games. Oh, we're seeing this horror game together. I don't know if we're actually going to get to talk to him tomorrow with everything else.
Blood, I am waiting for you to mention it.
Yeah, I'm waiting too. I'm
What
on
are
pins
you
and
waiting?
needles here.
Dragon Quest Builders 2?
Iceborne! Tomorrow, hands on.
There you go.
Yeah.
Did you see the giant dragon?
Velkhana? I did see Velkhana, yeah.
Okay. Did you see the Palico on the other side?
I did see the Palico, yeah.
I'm also behind closed doors for the future of Xbox, which I had no idea.
Dude, Brandon Jones is coming.
Dragon Quest Builders 2.
Brandon, you can sit up here for the outro. Yeah, you want to throw us an outro?
want to throw Michael Huber out the window.
Whoa. That window?
Only if
That's
you
what's
do
going to go
it-
next to
Do
Ian.
it to that cyberpunk music, like
Only-
throw him and then bum, 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 bum.
Jones, only if it's as good as the intro in Watchmen. Comedian getting thrown out of that
It's a
window.
good one. It's a good one.
Top 10 getting thrown out of window scenes.
a good one. Yes, we will be. I'm wrapping this up. You just had a lovely conversation. I'm just coming in and stealing the thunder and wrapping it up.
Steal it, baby. Steal it.
I'm pumped, man. I'm so excited for the rest of the appointments that we have this week. What you just saw is our evening impressions. If you stuck around watching the entire thing, we are going to be back. We're going to do that again tomorrow night. We're going to do that again on Thursday night. And we're going to do that again on Friday. When we do it on Friday, we're going to be having some fun friends come over. Greg Miller and Tim Geddes from Kind of Funny are going to come over. We're going to have some other fun special guests. Some of those guests are going to be on the next episode of Friend Code. Frame Traps tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, yep.
So
episode.
and we have other post E3 fun stuff happening next week, but it's really all about this crazy week up until this Friday. And man, you get that taste of E3 and you just want more.
Is that taste of Final Fantasy, Ben?
Yeah.
That taste?
I mean, we've got plenty of stuff that we haven't talked about. We haven't talked about Battletoads.
I can't. Yeah,
talking
well,
about
the funny
Biomutant.
thing is, I cleared Tuesday. All the stuff that I saw today, I've now officially talked about. But there's still stuff from Judges Week. Embargoes are lifted.
I just
this
got a
week, like-
private message from somebody who's like, that grid idea isn't a new idea. I'm like, well, I know it's not quite a new. It's the implementation of it. Yeah.
the late night impressions corrections. I wake up in the morning like, okay, I got one thing wrong.
This happens every year, but at the end of the Final Fantasy VII demo, it goes, "Thanks for playing." It's like, well, I could keep going.
right.
We can't keep going. We're going to go home and go to sleep. But if you want to watch us again, twitch.tv/EasyAllies. We'll be back at 8:30 tomorrow night with more impressions after a full day at E3 2019. If you want to see archives of a lot of the Blood's been working really hard, packaging all of this stuff for your viewing pleasure again and again and again. If you want to see that stuff, youtube.com/EasyAllies. Again, you can stick around. Social media, Facebook and Twitter if you want updates. But what? Oh,
Thank the mods.
the wag finger. Of
Thank you,
course, the
mods.
mods. It's crazy, man. I was at that desk during the Nintendo press conference, and it was tough keeping up. There's a lot of chatter, a lot of stuff, and just obviously thank you for the mods, but thank you for people sticking around. Obviously, we had a huge audience for our reactions over the weekend to all the press conferences, but it's really really fun checking in. It's fun communicating all of this stuff to all of you, but really fun checking in with all of you. That Cyberpunk was great.
Do we have a
I really
sweetest
liked
moment?
having like a full desk.
Out of all these things that we talked about, of all these things today, do we have a sweetest moment?
Ben coming in with a cup of coffee is fresh
I mean,
brew.
there's a lot.
Yeah.
We got Dragon Quest and Banjo and Smash. But Breath of the Wild too, man.
Well, we're talking not from the conference.
the impressions, yeah.
From us.
Stuff we saw today.
The fact that we're still alive.
Yes.
Sweetest moment.
I really
Like-
just sharing Cyberpunk impressions with four other
Yes,
allies.
The fact that 7 people got to see that demo today.
I
was
really
pretty
liked
great.
it. All those little details, all the soda
just how
cans.
energized we all were about it. Yeah.
The soda cans coming out of the machine. Like, say what now? Yeah. Lots of detail in that. But yeah, thank you, of course, to Sweet Justice, our official E3 sponsor, sponsoring the sweetest moment. We'll be back tomorrow night. And again, if you would like to support us, we'd very much appreciate it. You can go to patreon.com/EasyAllies. If you want to learn more about us, get other fun updates, other text updates and posts and stuff like that for all the various shows that we do, and finding out what tier fits your style of support of Easy Allies, how you can be involved in the shows that we produce, ask us fun questions. You can just be involved by coming back tomorrow night and watching us talk about more games. We'll see you then.
Easy Allies E3 2019 coverage is brought to you by Sweet Justice, a sound design company from the southern shores of the UK. They've worked on some of the biggest AAA titles, the most refreshing indie titles, and collaborated with the best development teams in the world. Check out their work at sweetjustice.audio. Thanks for watching our coverage of E3 2019. If you'd like to learn more about us, visit patreon.com/EasyAllies to see how you can help us keep doing what we do. At various levels of support, you can participate in the live and pre-recorded content we create, or get our podcasts a few days early. For just $1 a month, you gain access to exclusive shows, spoiler-filled discussions, and weekly business updates. You can also visit EasyAllies.com to see our schedule in your time zone.